Alright. Karibuni tena ndani ya One Bike Show. Na ni furaha kujiunga nanyi wapenzi wasikilizaji, tukiwa tumekuandalia taarifa za kusisimua, muziki wa kata viungo na kidumbwe cha siasa au politics ukipenda. We are streaming live on Facebook from Kilimanjaro studios outside Washington DC. We'll shortly be going live on YouTube, so please call all your YouTube friends. Now, please remember to subscribe to both our YouTube and Facebook pages at The One Mic Show. And then follow us on Instagram at One Mic Show, and we're now on TikTok, so make sure you're following us on all our social media handles. We are also taking live calls tonight at 202-683-4570 and press *5 to speak. Now, later tonight, we'll see the return of DJ Omoshfire Hit or Miss segment. We'll be reviewing some of Charisma's favorite music. So let us know in the comment section which songs you want to hear. We'll also be asking Charisma if it's fair to expect artists to use their platform to drive civic change. Feel free to drop comments below on whether artists should take part in driving political action. Na bila kusahau, tunapokea mziki toka DJ wetu machachari mleta habari DJ Omoshfire, na tutadunda kule viwanjani na Mika Och, jezi yake nambari 7 mgongoni, akituletea habari za michezo. Na moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro studios ni mimi mtangazaji na mwana habari wako mpendwa Ali Badawi. Kwetu wananiita mteule na wengine mniite mjukuu wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Si chagui, si kagui, na si bagui. Karibuni.
It's time for entertainment news.
All right, now this hour we'll be talking like you see, it's entertainment news tonight. Now this hour we'll be talking to Kenyan Afropop artist Charisma about his recently launched album The Motions. He will then talk about his experiences during the recent GenZ Mandamanos, and we'll also candidly ask him if it's fair to expect artists to use their platforms to drive political and civic change. Now please drop a comment below and tell us where you're tuned in from, whether you're tuned in from Texas, whether you're tuned in from DC, whether you're tuned in from Nairobi, Kenya. Please tell us where you're tuned in from, and make sure you buy his music. The link is pinned in the comment section. We're going to be pinning it also on YouTube. That one link has everything, all the platforms that you need, Amazon, Apple, any platform that you need to get his music, you'll find it on that link that we pinned. And I'm your host and producer, Ali Badawi. It is Friday the 20th of September, and we are streaming live from Kilimanjaro studios outside Washington, D.C. Once again, remember to follow The One Mic Show on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and all other social media handles. And on panel with me tonight is Mr. One Mic Kamakawa. Sports anchor Mika Ot is joining us via Zoom. Our resident DJ Omoshfire is already live on the decks. And not forgetting that our super producer is Mubelwa Wabandio. And I can see already people have logged in and tuned in. I can see Washeke is already in the building. Initially we had some sound issues up on Apale, but I think all of that is sorted. And I can also see Mika in the building. And yeah, make sure you type in the comment section at followers, at everyone, at highlights, top fans, at highlight, whatever needs to happen. And please share our stream on your timeline so that other people can get in. So we're going to get started right away because we have a lot to cover tonight. Now, we know that 2024 has been a year of emotional distress for Kenyans across the world. An unprecedented uprising against bad governance led to bloodshed that left 60 people dead. The sound of Kenyan music, however, has provided comfort and a bright spot amidst a period punctuated by a lot of anxiety. Now, joining us tonight is Kenyan Afropop artist Charisma, who was at the epicenter of the recent GenZ protests. Charisma, also known as Luya Hit and Mr. Sababisha, first rose to fame as a member of the group Le Band. Now, after gaining recognition, he went solo and started blending genres like hip-hop, Afropop, and gospel to create a unique Kenyan sound. Now, Charisma has also been actively involved in the recent GenZ Uprising and has been vocal on his platforms on government actions against the youth. Now, he just released his album last month with pomp and color at Mass House in Nairobi, where it said that bras were raining all over the building. Charisma, aka Mr. Sababisha, karibu sana to the One Mic Show. How are you feeling tonight, Charisma? Can you hear us?
I'm great, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, how are you feeling tonight? Actually, tell us, what time is it where you currently are?
Okay, so sahi acha niwaambie ukweli na kuanga kwa club labda niko karibu kuzima. Sahi ni 3:20 am.
3:20 am.
Okay. Yeah, it's 3:20 am in Nairobi right now. Inakuanga masani kwa karibu kubleki, but niko hapa leo.
Okay. Yeah. We thank you so much. We thank you so much for taking time at this dead hour of the night when unafaa kuwa huko unasababisha, lakini uko hapa na sisi.
Sitaki niwadanganya ati ningekuwa nimelala.
Okay, sawa. Now, before we get started, tell us about the experience during your album launch at Mass House, which we were seeing recently, because we heard that bras were raining on stage. What is that about? Charisma.
Yeah, you guys had right, man.
Na Sidirias.
Sindiria nazo zilikuja kukuja. The ladies were having a good time. So we did my concert at Mass House. It was just after the launch of my album. Yeah, I launched my album on the 9th of August, which is, I think, last month. We did the concert, I think, on the 23rd of August. So it was just 2 weeks. So we gave people 2 weeks to consume the album, and people loved the album. They really, really loved the album. So when I mean, even when we're choosing the location for the event, you know, those doubts you normally have as a creative. Will we be able to sell out this show? Will we be able to have people on board? But it sold out the whole thing, man. Like, we were meant to have gate tickets for the event, but we couldn't have them because everything was done. Like, wasa walikuwa na DM wakiuliza manze naweza buy tiko manze wapi. Wasa walikuwa wanauza tickets za 15 zenye walibuy 1500 for 5k online on Twitter. So it was interesting. And then, of course, on the day of the show, we just had a lot of things going on. Tulikuwa theatrics. Ikafika point tu katikati ya ngoma fulani manze kuna ngoma naimba juu ya kutolewa sidiria na nazo sidiria zilitoka ndugu zanguni.
Okay. Na hiyo ngoma tukumbushe ni gani, because ngoma yenyewe haitwi sidiria.
Inaitwa Wivu.
Okay. Sawa. So if you want Wivu to be one of the songs played in the Hit or Miss segment, please ingia hapo katika comment section or type in. But real quick, back to that venue, because Miss Jauna venue kama hiyo hapo in Kenya before. It was my I mean, and I was seeing it on YouTube, and I'm like, damn, this looks like Howard Theatre. I mean, of course, you're doing an amazing job on stage. Tuambie about your venue. Iko wapi? You know, like, what is the capacity? Because the place was packed. And from what you're saying, people were still... not everybody was able to get a ticket to go in there. Tell us about this venue, because Miss Jona venue kama hiyo Kenya before.
Yeah, 100%. So the Mass House venue is, for those of you who might know, what was formerly the Winning Post. So the Winning Post was... it was a decent location. What the guys who have taken Mass House, the Mass House Entertainment, they've taken it up and just completely refurbished the place. Sorry, and it's guys who've studied in the UK, who've been in the States, who've just seen the entertainment culture all around the world, who decided to come and replicate it in Kenya. So in terms of like how they structured the stages and everything, they just did everything to make it seem like an international thing also. So the capacity for the place is about comfortably, I think, from 1800 to 2000, which is what essentially we were able to do in terms of like as a first event, because my event was the first event that ever happened there, or that's ever happened there. So that's essentially what it is. It's a really dope location. I think it's going to be an important location for Kenyan music and just the live scene in general, and even people who are going to be invited to attend to perform in Kenya. It's going to be a very important location for everyone who comes on board, because it's a location with proper stage. It has amazing screens. The space is insane. There's a VIP section at the top. So like it's a very dope space. I think people will love it. Yeah.
Okay. That is quite interesting. I mean, that's a place that I think any diasporan who's going back to Kenya this December needs to make a point of stopping 100%. By there. Yeah. So I wanna introduce the rest of the panel. We're gonna get to Mika shortly, who's on Zoom, but I'm gonna come here in the studio to anze hapa na DJ wetu, DJ Omosh Fire, who was rogaing us with your music. DJ Omosh, you've been sampling Charisma's music the whole week. We've all been doing that, and of course you've been listening to it from before. Just tell us, like what you think, what your experience was with his music from before he started sampling this week, from when you started listening to Charisma years back. DJ Omosh Fire, karibu sana.
Asante. Charisma, should I use your real? No, I won't use the real name. Maybe that can be a trivia question for somebody to win. But the creativity is on another level. na kuna wimbo moja umenisikia nikipiga hapo hiyo wimbo yako na Mbithi. Yani the two of you guys, it's like, to me, I'd say it's a match made in heaven musically, which is weird for, you know, two guys, you know, together, because what one guy brings and the other guy brings, hapo ndio pali I'm stuck on that song. I think I did a mixtape with it. Remember that song I was just playing?
The mixtape that you sent, the one that I forced you to, the mix that I forced you to make.
Yes.
That I'm still waiting for another mix.
Boss.
Okay, sawa.
Season hivi tusiwaga tunasema nini?
You may attend. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes.
Tuko na mgeni bana.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yes. So yes, pole boss. So but yes, the yani the range, and then the other yani, out of all of this, the question I would ask is, why don't we have people who have that type of range, pushing and just enjoying? Because this is like, your sound is sound for a live action band, sitting, having people, you know, a drama, a guitarist, you know, a chile backup, and maybe a loose trio mio rapping hapo kusukuma watu. It's like, why don't we have more of that in Kenya? But anyway, I digress. Karibu kwa show.
Asante sana bro, thank you so much, I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Asante sana. Na nimejibamba sana nikisikia ukicheza ngoma, nikasema manze na bamba, msana nichezea tu ngoma zangu, mix zangu, yani ngoma zangu zimefika state mbele yangu.
Okay, good one. Wacha tumsikie Mika. Mika, ebu ongea na Charisma hapa kidogo. Anasema ngoma zake zimefika states mbele yake. Mika, twende kazi. As we try to get Mika on mute. Yes.
Wow, mazeni muongea.
Omera bwana, there was nothing.
Labda nilikuwa nimeingia hapa nimepiga Charisma flying kick yani. Ona bahati hata ile kwa mute. Lakini unajua kusema ngoma zake zimekuja states mbele yake ni kwa sababu yake. Anajua mbona namwambia hivi.
Ni ukweli atangani.
Mbona ngoma zimefika mbele yake. But then the one thing that pia mimi nataka kusema is like I've known Charisma for a while, and I've known his artistic attributes and how his music has been. And wacha yeye mwenyewe apigie story ya mbona alifanya album and how it came to him to decide to do the album. But kitu moja niko na noma no emotion, my favorite Charisma song hujaicheza bad man. It's called Love. Na nilikutumia, yani nilikutumia nikakwambia cheza hii ngoma.
But boss, you know there's a hit or miss segment. You put in your request like everybody else. Alafu unakuja na fujo, unajua tuko na guest, tuko na visitor,
tuko na mgeni.
Yes. Kuna vitu zingine unaongea chini ya maji bwana Omera.
Chini ya maji, chini ya curtain.
Yes.
Haya basi, chini ya curtain basi Ali. Wacha nirudishe kwa Ali.
Okay. Haya, sawa. Asante sana Mika, tutakuja studio pia uno mic. Pia tumekuwa tukizisample hizi ngoma kuanzia the Motions, the recently launched album, and then the older songs zile za 4-5 years ago, ambazo bado tu ziko relevant leo. Talk to us about your experience sampling that music.
So my experience was interesting. So first let me say, you know, Charisma, Luya Hit, Mr. Sabebisha comes from the great Prince of Wales, graduate.
Yes.
Apache?
Apache.
Yeah. So of course this guy was only Nigerian hapa. So when you changes Ali,
acheni ni urudi.
Ali,
interview.
It's okay. Ali,
ulijua history Ali.
No, it's okay. Of course alilenga. I was going to say.
Interview staki.
Wow. Yani
tunaweza kuchomea. Kwa mpole, tunaweza kuchomea hapa diaspora.
Nani? Wewe. Anyway, what is interesting, and we were talking of nilienda nikatafuta kwanza album, nikaona kuna album mbili, the one that he just released, and I think there was an LP, but you're gonna explain this because to me it looked like it was an album. Niligia po iTunes, inaonekana like there were 10 songs in the first one, and then the second one, alafu nilisikiza zote. Of course sauti, like you know, a guy like Sabibishaji hivi, alafu ana sauti nyororo hivyo
azidonjo na sura azidonjo.
I don't know about all that, but it's like, you know, sauti iko, and then you know hata kichapa kapela unasema damn,
the vocal range. The vocal range, man. So it's not a lot of guys who have that.
And then so like usually it's like you'd hope to hear, like if you turn on one of these ukiwa Kenya, you're listening to muziki huko on radio online, utasikiza muziki, you know, utasikiza sauti, utasikia heart, utasikia luya hit. But for some reason it's like I don't know what else needs to be done. Ali was saying I think we need to condition like sheep. Watu wanaingia huko their request, the music is overflooding, but boss, the least we can do is, you know, give you the platform, you know, not that you need it, but at least umesema mziki imefika mbele, so watu enjoy, watu, you know, people digest and consume something else in addition to what
100.
Kabisa. Now, for the people who want Charisma's music, we've already pinned the link to get his music. All the platforms, whatever platform you're in, tumepin Facebook, tumepin Apple on YouTube, so you can get all his songs there. And we're gonna start right now taking the songs you want played on the Hit or Miss segment. Your favorite song, type it in the comment. We'll be playing a limited number of songs, you know, maybe like 5 songs. You come and DJ atakuwa
I don't know. Hata hiyo ya Mika, I don't think tutacheza.
Yes, so now yeah, please. Yeah, type ile ngoma unapenda.
Huna noma buda.
Yeah, type ile ngoma unapenda, and then our tallists. Sijui kama Steven JJ yuko leo na washeke. Please tally the songs watu wanaweka hapo. Zile zitakuwa na the most votes ndo tutacheza at the end of the night. So drop comments hapo, let us know. Now back to you, Charisma. Kwa wale watu hapa diaspora, maybe they're seeing you, maybe wamesikia mziki yako waja kuona. Just give us a brief background of yourself, kutoka kulolizaliwa mpaka kulolienda, just briefly, mpaka ile point ukafika ukajua ni mziki hapa ndo nataka kufanya. Twende kazi, Charisma.
Yeah, so music for me is an interesting thing. It's not something I ever thought I was gonna do, if I'm honest, because I was never a singer. Like mi sikuwa fikiria tinda kwa hii stage. So mi grew up kwa nyumba very a staunch Christian home. So my dad is a pastor, and my mom is a teacher. So she's been in education like all her life, and she was a disciplinarian at some point. So like I grew up in a house where, well, let me tell you, even secular music, we never used to listen to secular music growing up. Tulikuwa tunasema hiyo ni tabia mbaya manzi, unajua, like my dad never allowed us to watch that stuff. So what we used to watch was tulikuwa tunasikizanga ngoma za sijui kina Ron Kenoli, kina Don Moen, kina Makoma. So that's the music I grew up to. So of course that primary, essentially, that's what I'm on. Then I went to high school, and I think in high school, in the Nairobi school, is when I learned you know, that's why I figured myself out. That's why I learned like there's so much more in the world that the world has to offer, especially in terms of music. Because now, Japach mandeni shule kubwa literally, like it's not sile tu ati ni jina kubwa. Hiyo shule ni kubwa, so kuna house mingi, kuna wase wengi, kuna cultures so different, kuna wase wako exposed to vitu zenye uko exposed to. So it was so interesting for me, you know. And what happened is like I go into the school, and now I'm getting to expose to, especially the first genre of music that I got exposed to that I had never interacted with in that kind of way was dancehall, man. And I loved it. I was in love with dancehall music. And then hip hop and R&B. So R&B manzi ilikuwa tu muziki nilikuwa nasikianga kwa TNJ. Unajua ile mkiwa kwa Mat na Madam na Karu, unasikia ma Sexy Love, but yani hata uwezi ziimba, unajifanya tu awao guys hiyo. Sexy Love ni wewe na watu wa kwenu nilikuwa najifanya. Yeah, so I think Nairobi school really exposed me to that music. And then the weird thing is I used to play rugby for Nairobi school. So I was as part of the patch machine, and I was part of the rugby team for a very long time, for literally all my 4 years in school. And I started playing the main team, I think, when I was in Form 2. So it's something that I genuinely thought I was going to be like really great at. So I finished high school, and you know, job level, I say when I come to rugby, you go and do tryouts at clubs. And I remember the first day we went to Mwamba, so I'm going for the tryouts, and I saw this Monday, and I just knew I'm not gonna make it in this sport. Kwa tu wase unasema ya for sure hapa ni enyewe hakuna mahali penye naenda, like wasa walikuwa wanatoshana na mang'ombe mazi, ng'ombe for real. Mzee na ng'ombe hakuna kitu. Wasanii wapigi, wameunga, ni warefu. And I looked at myself and I was like, there's no way this body of mine will ever get to this level. Like there's nothing I can possibly do
Scrum half.
to be, so yeah. And it was disheartening. You can imagine you're a young kid, you've grown up believing those 4 years in school, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be a rugby player. And then you first get exposed to actual rugby players and realize, God damn it, yeah, ain't no space for me here.
But also
So
remember,
I
you
was-
are growing though. Kimwili,
Yeah.
you also growing though. So chances
No,
you might have.
I think, listen, I made the
Well,
right
give up
choice
mapema
because
too.
I look at myself now na bado.
Oh, bad. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hata nikisimama nao wase bado wanakaa wamejengwa na matofali manze.
Yeah, unajua sports is interesting because with sports there was I can't remember his name, but there was an African American who was saying like however great you are in sports, especially like in a country like America, you could be so great in the high school that you're playing in, but your chances for making it to the major leagues, to NBA, NFL, or any of these major leagues is very, very minimal.
Yeah.
So he was encouraging parents to look at other fields, like academics and other talents, whereby, like the odds for making it are much higher than
And you have
than
like
sports.
almost a playing field because uneven playing field because ni wewe ujisukume.
Yes,
Yeah, there's
kabisa.
that also.
Nadhani unajua sports ni weird because nilikuwa naambia msee manze, I can imagine just being those guys who you love basketball and you want to play basketball and then you've invested all your life into the sport alafu grow up uko 5'8", bro.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it happens. It happens
Yeah, it
sometimes.
is.
So I think those are things that mentally you have to be ready for. But great.
Yeah.
Sasa now talk to us about the current music scene in Kenya. There was a time like sisi as diasporans tulikuwa tunakam and then you're going to venues. You're finding, like foreign music being played. You're finding Afrobeat, ama reggae, ama just music that's just not Kenyan. Piano was also becoming big. So where is the music scene currently for those who want to come back sasa hii December? Kuna wale ambao who come every year, kuna wale ambao who skip a year kama mimi and then go the other year. So what do we expect when we go home this December? How is it looking right now?
Kenyan music is back on the charts. It's so interesting. And what you guys are saying is so real. And I want to be honest, there's nothing more tough than being a musician and those kind of things. So, for example, for me as a musician, it was very difficult to be at a time where every club, you go to clubs, because me, I love partying. So I go to clubs every now and then, yeah. And the only music you're hearing was Niger music. It was literally just Afrobeat. That was very crazy for everyone in the industry. But I think right now the landscape has changed. And I wanna just shout out the Gengetone and urban tone artists. I think if there's artists who brought back the air to to the ground in Kenya, it's been those guys especially. So of course you guys know what they're doing. They've put out bangers and bangers and bangers, and the bangers competed with the Nigerian music. So what it did is it brought back the airs to the ground, yeah. And so when the airs came back to the ground, I think just every other genre of music took advantage. Us guys for pop took advantage, the Afropop artists took advantage, the Benga guys, even the vernacular guys just took advantage. I think everyone just took advantage of the situation because people are now listening to Kenyan music more. So guys on the ground are like, yeah, Kenyan music is cool. So there's a lot more people listening to Kenyan music now. You go to clubs, you hear more Kenyan music than you do music from outside, which is really, really dope, which is something that I don't know if I could say, I don't know if it's something you could say 2 or 3 years ago. So I think we're progressing in the right direction. I think there's also a lot of symbiosis in the music industry at the moment. A lot of artists are working together.
Oh, great.
Just to make sure the art goes. You can even tell with the number of collaborations you see nowadays. You see a lot of top artists in the country right now working together. A lot of people in different genres, even cross genres, coming together just to try and put out amazing, amazing music. I think the Kenyan music industry at this point in time is at a point where guys are just consuming it and people are loving it and people are hungry to share. Like the fans are sharing our music and they're consuming it like it's the greatest thing. So yeah, it's an amazing place to be at. Like right now, it's a good time to be alive as a Kenyan musician.
Wow, let me come back to the studio because this is a discussion we've had for a very long time.
Yeah.
And of course, when those of us who are living abroad, whenever we go back home, na tunataka kufeel home, it gets very disappointing when a lot of places you go, not even necessarily just clubs, even restaurants, even just random places where you're going, you're hearing music that's not Kenyan. Because even Nigerians who've gone to Kenya are saying, they were shocked at the amount of Nigerian music that they were hearing in Kenya. So let me come back to studio up at DJ Omosh Fire. Where do you think, where are we in the diaspora? Because the Kenyan diaspora, we've also experienced these waves where people were Kenyan, and then watu waka deviate kidogo at some point. Where do you feel we currently are?
There seems to be a wave, and the wave is, for a long time it had been Afrobeats, but it seems like a lot of people are now deviating to Amapiano.
Okay.
And like literally to the point where even the different genres of music are coming out with Amapiano versions of something.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So whatever it is that is, even if it's a hip hop song or whatever it is.
Even vernacular, by the way.
They're coming out with
I had a Luya song.
Yeah.
I had a Luya Amapiano track not long ago.
Yeah. Those things are many. So for me, I think here in the diaspora, it seems to be more heavily, at least with the Kenyans, they're heavily headed towards the Amapiano route, though Afrobeats bado iko hapo. And exposure to more Kenyan music, good Kenyan content from our Kenyan artists is going to allow those people who don't know to start moving in that direction. So I think basically it's not so much that our artists need to, go the path of the popular music and make your music, shape it into that. Just keep churning out good hits, good music, and it will speak for itself. That's basically what needs to happen. And as guys, as we've always pushed, we need to keep constantly pushing. I can't remember the last time when I played an Afrobeat song, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not Kenyan or East African, I don't play it.
Yeah, and absolutely, because the way, and this is not, we did not coin ourselves, former Balozi, Big Ted.
Oh, Big Ted, yes.
Yeah, he said we are Kenyan cultural ambassadors. That was not necessarily our goal, but this is someone from the outside who was telling us, because we're constantly talking about Kenyan issues every week. We've been doing that for so many years.
Yeah.
So I think on the music side, I'm glad we've been able to stay firm even during those very distressful periods when people were demanding cheza ngoma ya kutoka huku, because I always say it's kind of like food, like when you go to Kenya, si ati fufu ni mbaya, but when you go to Kenya you're looking for ugali, you're looking for pilau, you're looking for nyama choma, you're not looking for fufu. So ukienda Kenya and then unapata ni fufu ndo inakuwa served, you're gonna be like, Allah, what's going on here? So musically, that's where we've been, and it's not only Afrobeat, it's been a lot of genres that have been taking over. Reggae especially, it's one of those genres that's very difficult to talk about, but it's also been very, very dominant within the culture. And of course Kenyans are kind of international, so it is expected that we've had international exposure, so it is expected that people want to listen to other music. But when you have 80% of the music being that other music, then that becomes a problem. Uno Mike.
No, I was going to say, for the longest time, we've always championed that we know that we've got good Kenyan music through and through. That one is not even up for debate, because sometimes Omosh will come here, he'll play for us some music and we're like, hey, who is that? But one thing that I realized that Ali pointed us out was that normally the bad music is the one that gets the most airtime.
Yes.
And then that bad music is the one that is now smeared or posted as
Kenyan music.
As Kenyan music.
And then it's overshared.
Yeah. So by the time people are, like, hey, this is the only this is what Kenyan is producing or whatever, but like, no. But that is, they say the squeakiest wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
So the bad crap is the one that gets airtime.
It's overshared.
It's overshared.
And that's a problem.
And just to your point, maybe if I can add to your point.
Yes.
I don't mean to throw shade on anyone, but like so I've always said, for example, the kind of hype someone like Steve Simple Boy has gotten in the Kenyan industry as a musician.
Jitayarisha for jabs. Carry on.
Yeah, I don't care, man. Like it's just the truth.
Yeah.
People, like you see, people used his music like as a way of trolling him and whatever. But the kind of PR he got just because it has the likes and everything was incredible. And then you find now the content that is great doesn't get that kind of PR. So and I really like the point you've made, because I've always made that point. I'm like, why do we keep it's so interesting with Kenya. I don't know if it's the same all over the world or it's just Kenyans. Ile kitu mbaya sio sukuma na roho yetu yote kuonyesha watu vile hii industry tu ni mbaya. But when there's great, people don't, it's not the same tenacity in terms of when we're pushing that content. So it's normally very frustrating also when you're a creative and you see this kind of things, because now it becomes like the standard of Kenyan music is this thing. You see this thing that's bad.
Yes,
No, Kenyan music is bad juu ya hii.
Yes. So
And they can't even we can't even produce good music. If you look at this crap, they're like, no.
Yeah.
You try to direct somebody, go listen. This out is so listen to this. Go listen to Luya.
So Nona, even some of the music that's being shared is parody music. It's not supposed to be music, but then it's being shared. It's being shared as music, and you know, this is an issue because I also listen to a lot of different music. I listen to a lot of Tanzanian music too. Tanzania has bad music, but guess what? You will never see it. You will never see it because they don't share.
100%.
Because they don't share. They don't share. It's not like they don't have bad music. There's a guy called Hamorapa. I don't know whether Shamona Hamorapa. It's a guy who tries to imitate Harmonize. The guy has, you know, like, he does a lot of
I
stuff.
didn't think that guy was serious. He's actually a serious
There's a guy
artist.
called Hamorapa.
But then think about it. Angalia hata umjui. Angalia because Tanzanians are not sharing his music. If that guy was
He's
a
been
Kenyan,
around for a while.
He's been around for a while. If
Yes.
that guy was a Kenyan, if that guy was a Kenyan, watu wangekuwa na share hiyo mziki yake like a nonsense. And then now people will share and then they'll be like, angalia vile hii mziki ni mbaya. And then when there's good music, I'll give an example of good music. When Nikita Kering was getting an award, that's when people are getting surprised at how come atumjui huyu ni nani? It's because you know, when you share, what people don't understand in this new age is that when you share, it tells the algorithm that this is the music, that this is the video that people like, so it's gonna be recommended to other people. So the moment you share, the moment you like, the moment you comment, it adds on to that algorithm. So if we keep doing that for the good music that we have, kama hii mziki ya charisma, if we keep sharing, the algorithm will tell YouTube that this guy is the one people want to listen to. So hata mtu ambaye hajawai sikiza hiyo song, it will just pop up on their timeline, because most of the views actually come from recommendations. Unaona ngoma kama Anguka Nayo, because it was shared so much, even my mother, who does not listen to music, ilimfikia. Ilimfikia. And that's when you know that music has gone round. And you know, like for example, like the Tanzanians have mastered that art, and which is why you see a lot of their videos sometimes getting so many views. But then there are people are also sharing. So that's something that I think we can go out and learn from them. You know, share the good music. Ukona mziki mbaya, we wache ishi hapo hapo pali uliona. In fact,
even in WhatsApp.
Yeah.
That's, you know, it's back to the same thing
just
of,
don't even
you know,
share
WhatsApp
it.
news network, where we send stuff and then it becomes the truth according to
becomes the
WhatsApp.
truth, yeah,
And
like-
it's not true.
Yeah, like this is
ngoma mbaya ziusharia mpaka unaona WhatsApp inaandika forwarded many times.
That is very true.
That is true.
That is very true.
And it's when it's been forwarded so many times, at some point you even now you're not even disconnected. You know, now you make memes out of it or whatever. Then these persons are the ones who are getting gigs. These are the persons who are being called on to Churchill.
Yeah.
These are the persons who are.
Oh man, actually, listen, crazy stuff. So, you know what?
Trigger.
No, honestly, proper trigger. You know, I was just, we're having a convo. So first of all, I'll say it's just, I always tell guys, you see Dubai, or when you go to the UAE iko na wase wamesota na iko na places zinakaa mbaya, but hauonangi hizo stuff.
No.
They show you the great stuff. I was telling someone, it's crazy how that point is really dope, because You remember when what's his name, TID just started popping because of the crazy things he was doing online.
Yeah. That's
Why-
right.
The dude was getting shows in Kenya, not in TZ.
Why are you passing around?
Yeah.
I hate you.
He got shows in Kenya and not in TZ. In TZ, guys were like, what the hell is this? You know, it's jokes, great, fine, imesonga. Lakini Kenya, tu limpea mashow. Nakumbuka manze alikuwa hapa kwa club, sitaki kutaja jina ya club. But alikuwa hapa kwa club manze anapiga show. Nasema yani, kuna wasanii wa Kenya wana release music daily, wamekaa tu mtaani wakiona msee amefanya memes. Sasa unajua mimi uliza mnataka nini? You know the problem with the message is, it makes an artist feel like, ama na need kudu gimmicks kama hizi ndio kazi yangu isonge.
And you know,
Yeah.
And then
Go ahead,
you know,
Mika.
on that topic of sharing, just to add on to something that most people don't realize is that, as Ali said, when Nikita Kering won an award is when people knew it. Realized like, wait, these are Kenyan artists. So she has music, she sings music, right? I'll give another example. What's the name of this chick? The one who sang Mwaki.
Sofian Zhao.
Sofian Zhao.
Sofian Zhao, right? Yeah, she's been in that EDM space for quite a long time.
Oh, for a long
And I
time,
can assure you, a lot of Kenyans didn't know her. But then the moment that Zab jumped on that track, and that track went international, is when she got a lot of recognition. Now the thing is, most Kenyans will depend on that. We want to depend on somebody to come from outside to pull our artists,
tell
to
us.
bring them
Yeah.
out so that we can celebrate them. But then the thing is, as you said, the sharing, the algorithm, and everything. When you share your good music, when you sell out your good, when you post your music outside there and people know it, it brings interest. That is how Nigerians build their industry. Nigerian music in America wasn't played by American DJs or American radio presenters. It was them who brought it outside, who brought it to the American space and played it so much until it grew on other people. And that's the thing that most Kenyans need to do. And when we ask Vilomosha Mesoma, Kenyans will lean more to leaning more to a piano right now. It's because the people who curate this party, the people who organize this event, that's the music, those are the DJs that are playing and bringing it. People will consume more to bring out to them. Unfortunately, we do not think like that when it comes to our music.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a very interesting conversation. This is one of those things that we hadn't planned for, but yeah, it is very important to talk about it for people to understand how the music gets discovered, because the unfortunate thing that's happening, you have even some good artists, because they're looking at what's happening and they're like, the algorithms like shock factor, because shock factor is what Kenyans are sharing. So you have some good musicians who are now starting to do shock factor stuff to get shared, and it's very unfortunate. What's her name? Washeke was talking about Mbaramba. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself, but I don't know where the art in that music is. Maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't see. Maybe there's another kind of art that people understand. But I think that's problematic and it needs to be rectified. Now, back to you, Charisma. Tukirudi back to some older music. Kuna ngoma ilikuwa inaitwa Married Twice, and it had a theme of it was interesting because it had a theme of domestic violence, drug abuse, and so many other and so many other things that you were singing about, and this was a couple of years ago. So talk to us about this song and maybe what your thinking is whenever you're creating music like that. Charisma.
So one thing I'll say, I think I was in a different stage at that time. Manze nilikuanga form ya mapenzi manze. Hey.
You were whipped. You were whipped.
Hivyo sasa hivi
Ngoja kwanza, Ali, before tufikie hapo, atuambie vile aliingia kwa ngoma.
No, alianza hapo, yeah. So atatuambia vile aliingia kwa ngoma because alikuwa shaanza pale mwanzo, but wacha kwanza tuambie juu ngoma and then maybe atatuambia vile aliingia kwa ngoma. Haya, twende Charisma.
Yeah, so hii song manze, hiyo time nilikuwa in love mbaya manze. Nilikuwa kafala manze. And the main thing about the song, so the main theme of the song was just being in a situation where you're in love mpaka unajua manze vile commitment, miss jai get married, but na imagine wasame get married go down on a knee na kuambia demu nataka kumuoa ni the ultimate commitment. So like umeifikiria I'm just thinking as a man, yeah, you've thought about this thing once, twice, thrice, so many times decide walai ni huyu, is this the person I'm gonna do life with, yeah? And so Mario Twice as a concept was just like, I'm so sure about you, about being with you. I'm not just doing, it's not just the first time. I'm not willing to go down on my knee once. I would go down on my knees once, not marambili. And then in terms of just storyline, what we did with the video, it was just to show the different love situations, a toxic relationship, and then a proper real love situation. And what we did with it is like we showed a violent person vis-a-vis a person who's just there for you and cares about you and is hyping you as the love interest. Like msetu ako there for you, na ataku hype, na ataku pop up, ataku prop up in every kind of way. And then the person you're with is doing the complete opposite. And the mission was always just to say like, there's always an amazing situation out there for everyone. Usikae kwa situations zimechapa just because you think, you know how toxic relationships are like you people don't like getting out of them, like mseo kwa mandani for some reason, but like just to show people that those nice situations are there and are available to everyone at your given point in time, as long as you allow yourself to explore those kind of situations, I guess. So pretty much that's what we're trying to show with that video, and just show the ultimate expression of love and a pure love, you know. Even with the writing of the song, it was very pure, playful, and everything. So that's the direction we went with that song. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Na ilikuwa kama ngoma zako because hapo it was a couple of years ago. You know, hizo zilikuwa ngoma zako za kwanza.
Yeah. So as a solo artist, I would say it was amongst my first songs. Yeah. Was it? I think it was probably the third or fourth
Okay.
song I had to put out as a solo artist. Yeah.
Okay, na before hapo ulikuwa kwa band. Your experience ya band ilikuwaje?
Ilikuwa kwa group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So vile niliwaambia story ya vile nilikuwa nacheza rugby na mambo ikaribika tu yani.
Matofari zikaku change voice.
Mtu anaweza nigonga niue bana. So I remember, so we had a concert at Nairobi Baptist Church in Ngong Road, and I was the lead director. I used to be an actor, actually. So as an entertainer, I started out as an actor, and I was a good actor, I think. Yeah.
Were you acting in Korea in the dramas, those drama plays in Patch?
Yeah. Niliact drama, lakini kuna time nilisuspendiwa mara kadhaa, mwalimu wa drama akanifukuza.
Okay. Ni sawa alikufukuza because changes tulikuwa tukiwa crash drama like a problem. But anyway, hiyo ni story another day, tuendelee.
Wow. Ali.
Usijali haya. Last time hiyo hapo.
Msana kuja na mangumi manze. Anyway, tumetumaka.
Tutakutana pale nje.
Utampata tu Ruta.
Pale nje.
Utampata tu Ruta
kwa stage.
Yeah, anyway, so as the lead director, and you know how young dudes are like, they don't like singing. You know how dudes watoi wanga zile za kuimba ni ya madem vitu kama hizo. Yeah, so I had a lot of guys who had come to my drama department. Then one of my music directors came to me and they were like, Manze, none of these dudes want to sing, and we need the baritones and the tenors and whatever. Because I know a lot of these kids look up to you. Just come and be there, and just for a couple of days, just sing. They'll start coming because it'll feel like, okay, Fidel is doing it, if Kazuma is doing it, it's fine. We can.
So by this time, Fidel, hold on. By this time, you are singing.
No, he's acting.
No, he's just acting. That's it.
Yeah, he was an acting director.
The reason nagwa niimbe ni niende kumotivate
Inspiration.
Hiyo tu. Aya, sawa. Carry on.
Mimi hata sijui kuimba.
Sini kanisa. He's inspiring the
I was one of those guys. I was so bad at singing. Ile design ya watu unajua how people sing together in church, mko congregation. Unasikia mtu anakuambia unaimba na nguvu, punguza sauti wewe. Wewe ni mbaya mpaka kwa congregation una sound.
Unaambiwa utulize. God damn. Okay,
Yeah. So this guy just pushed me to go and sing. So I start singing, of course, yeah. Nimeanza kuimba manze. I was like, if you tell someone come and motivate these kids by doing something, you'd assume they tell me sing to harmonies. This girl gives me a whole verse. I'm like, brother, first of all, I'm not in. This is not my thing. But then I'm just like, okay, fine. And then unajua vile mademo anaweza ku guilt trip aniambia manze, unajua you need to do this thing. You can't let our department suffer. You're the head director.
Na hiyo ni kanisani. You're already being blackmailed in church.
Yeah.
Alafu ana blush ana freshly to my eyes.
Ananifanya ile kitu manze. So nakumbuka alipatianga ngoma fulani ya Diticado inaitwa Stand Still. Wacha niwaambie, unajua hizi ngoma za black gospel hizi kwanza vocals zinakuanganika. Sijui watu wanakuanga wametoa sauti wapi. Msee anaimba tu kila place sauti inaruka. So I was just like, what is this? So anyway, I did the song. I wasn't great, I'll be honest. I wasn't great. But someone said, you're not as bad. And there was some guys who were called singers of Christian songs. Walikuwa wanajiita Socks. Can you imagine?
Socks.
Yeah.
Singers of Christian songs. Socks.
Okay.
Dhogivi.
Interesting. Creative name.
Creative
name. Yeah.
Must be a Chenjeri. Carry on, sorry.
Nimefala mbaya. But ni sawa manzi. Walikuwa wanatesa mademo walikuwa wanalove. Na I think ndio kitu kingine ile ni motivate. Sasa alikuwa anaimba manzi wasichana dem nimekatia miaka 5 hajawahi nisikiza. Msee anafanya tu dem ameenda nikasema hii ni talent itabidi nimeharness.
For church going people, I don't think this interview is going the right way. Endelea.
Watu wa church msijali manze. But unajua wasichana anyway, wacha niwaache. Yeah, so literally, so I started practicing with those guys were Socks man. Then nikaanza tu kwenda tizi yao, and those are the guys who ended up forming the band together with me. Yeah, na tukadu group pamoja for a while. Tulikuwa na a proper, like I think the band is the thing that made me realize like I can't be a musician. Like I have the talent to be able to go through with it, because we put out a song. I remember in 2017, times are tough. I won't lie to you guys. I remember it was tough for a while. Like tulikuwa tumedu muziki for about 3 years. Manze hakuna kitu ina happen. Yani views ziko YouTube ni ya baba yangu, mamangu, baba ya my bandmates, mama zao and our brothers. Tuko na kaa 40 views. Ngoma imekaa 2 years iko na 100 views. Nasema hii kitu kuna place inaenda. Sasa niko law school, mama kwa tu zile za kai. So achana na hii kitu ya kunaimba tu hakuna kitu nakusaidia. Wanna get and then in 2017 we put out a song. We put out number 1, and that song just blew up. Like it just absolutely blew up. And even now looking back, that's the song that made me believe like, yeah, I'm cut out for this. Like it made me, because I was almost at a breaking point. As zile za stuff is for work manze. The last time na try na ndaamua tu kwenda na law degree yangu nimalizane niachane na muziki. Nimejaribu, it was gonna be those things where you say, I tried it refused, it's not for me, bye. But number 1 happened, and it validated everything I've been doing, and I've been on this path ever since.
Now, before we go back to the band, unajua you've introduced something else that people don't know. You mentioned law school. Yeah, because a lot of people are learning about that right now. Hivi sasa ungekuwa unaenda Supreme Court kudefend.
Niko kipara deadly hapa.
Okay. So talk to us about law school. So ulimaliza law school, ulienda Kenya School of Law, or what happened during that time? Because
so nilimaliza law school.
Okay.
And then so now time for KSL came, and I was just like, I remember I told my folks, now I've gone through the 4 years in the mother degree yangu manze mi ingine staki. Like I just want to be a musician now. Like this is the thing I'm sure I want to do. And I think for me the greatest thing that happened in my life is I did music concurrently with what's it called?
Law school.
Being in law school. So I was gauging it every single day at the same time. Like, what is the thing that I enjoy doing the most? What's the thing I feel like this is my passion and what I'd want to do for the rest of my life? Yeah, so there's a do promote, and I really love being a lawyer also, and it's something I still follow up on. I read a lot of law journals and keep up with case law and things like that, because it's a field that I really wanted to do from when I was really young. So si kitu ati tu nimetupa nikasema kwenda huko, yeah, but yeah. music is my first love. I love the legal profession. I'm around lawyers a lot, you can imagine, because of being in law school. So I have a lot of friends in the space. But yeah.
So now, no, wait, I wanted to ask. So now when you're doing this music, the first song, the first song that hit with Le Band, is this a Christian song? Is it a gospel?
Oh,
and
no.
At that point in time, with your father being a pastor, you know, so because there's also that thing of, okay, mbona, of course, when you start singing in church, I guess mzee is happy. But now umeamua kwenda secular kiasi.
Transition. Kiwili Paul.
Eh? Let me tell you, the funny thing is, I remember back then, so the music we used to do, unajua tulikuwa very cautious, naishi kwa mzae, siwezi imba tu ovyo vile najisikia. So, I used to do music. Of course, that can switch from singing in church into secular music. We started with like very uplifting music, you know. Lazima umwanzishe pole pole. Hata demo mwanzangi tu nataka tudishiane. Pole pole. Unaanza tu pole pole. So mzee wangu hivyo ndo nilimwanzishia. So bro, let me tell you, my dad used to go to church. You know how pastors try or when it's a pastor's when your son is mkora, jambo kusema hata aimbe wimbo ya Mungu lakini wimbo yake ni ya kumotivate watu, ya kupea watu courage, to work hard. And that's what my dad used to say every single day, I remember. And then I just toured him one day with number one. The man was sick. I remember, so, and it wasn't even a wild video. So literally kulikuwa na kadem kamevaa. Unajua hizi mzee acha niambie, mimi na show mimi nimetoka familia ya Kikristo mbaya. Dem alikuwa ndo amevaa nguo iko na slit hadi huku juu kabisa. Hiyo ilikuwa inaua baba yangu. Alikuwa anaiona na nusu. Mliona hii na mkaiweka. You know, so akaniita mpaka mkutano akaniambia, I don't know the direction you're going.
Yani there was an intervention.
But in my house.
But you have to be very careful.
In my house.
You know you're my son also. Nikaanza kusema ala. Wewe anataka kuninyima hata chakula. You know, but I think the thing with my dad is, my dad also raised us to be independent and to just do what we want and to, not what we want, but what we're passionate about. So as much as, and I always tell guys, I don't think my dad loves entirely that I'm a secular singer. I think he'd love for me to be a gospel singer. That is not even a lie. Jukuna ngoma nilitoa moja ya gospel kwa one of my EPs. Manze, my dad alikuwa anaisikiza daily. Hadi brangu alikuwa ananichukulia video ananiambia, ona mzee halali manze. Akotoa kwa video. Yeah, and he still really watches my other songs, but I know he would have loved for me to be
Allah.
Okay, looks like we lost him. So I think he's gonna come back.
Yeah, looks like we lost him for a moment.
Audio kameenda.
Yeah.
Nika steam imelost.
Aya, sawa.
Hiyo ala ni ile ya steam kupotea.
Okay.
Allah.
Aya, sawa. No problem. Tutamgojea rudi. But now you see what he was saying, what he was talking about the dad. You know, like, I think he's a very good parent. You know, one thing I tell people is that a parent is not supposed to be, is not necessarily supposed to be your friend.
No, not your friend.
No.
Your parent is not your friend.
And to me, that's where, you know, like when nikisikia, you know, like a dad said something like this, I mean, for whatever reason, but that's a father who cares. That's a father who cares, and that's a father who, you know, like wants to know, you know, is worried about the son's future. And of course,
kuna concern.
Yeah, and of course, unajua secular music is something that will concern any parent. It's something that will concern any parent, regardless of what happens. Ndo hiyo stima imerudi sasa. Stima ilikuwa imelost.
Hapana, airtime.
Si airtime. Ni charge hapa.
Ati?
Hauko umeweka laptop kwa charger.
Acha niwaambie kitu. Unajua nimerealize nilikuwa nimeweka laptop kwa stima, but nimegundua you know that the way there's normally two cables on this to laptops. My dog had gonga it. So this thing was not charging. Na hii conversation imebamba sasa mimi nilikuwa ndani kabisa.
No worries. Tulikuwa tunafikiria labda pia ni watu watu wa NIS pia wanaweza
wamenikujia. Hello.
yeah, tungeanza kutoa maposters saizi hizi, you know,
Kuna
like
siku niligongewa kwa hii mlango, je, mnasema nini?
sasa tungeanza kutoa maposters free charisma, usijali at least tungekuwa na evidence we were there with you
as it happened,
it happened before they came and took you. Yeah.
Haitakuwa tumejiabduct vile watu wanajiabduct.
Yeah. But sawa
Nikakuwa nani alijiabduct?
Hiyo story hiyo acha tuongee kando. But now, you know, like
you're telling us about his dad.
Yeah, you're telling us about your dad, and I was saying that's how a father is supposed to be. A father is not supposed to tell you stuff to make you happy all the time.
To make you happy.
That's how a good parent is supposed to be. Yeah. So appreciative for your father.
And they've always been like that to me. Even even before we put out number 1 with Laban, my dad would just call me, and he wouldn't be harsh or mean to me. He'd just be like, "Manze, unaona kai muziki yako kuna mali inaenda." Kwa sababu manze, acha niambie ukweli. You see, this thing is a game of numbers. I always say the problem with our art, or being a creative, tuko kwa industry yenye tunatry ku please wase. So we're putting out content for people to accept. You know. And it's very easy to see when people are not accepting it.
Yes.
You know, because you can see the numbers, you can see the reception, how people are speaking or not speaking, you know. And my dad would just be like, I think you need to evaluate this situation and think about whether it makes sense for you to continue going on with it. And for a while it made sense, and then things just happened for me, and I was grateful. But my dad has always been really honest with me, and he's always been supportive. Super supportive with me also. So I think personally, I'd say I'm very grateful for the parents that I have. Of course, I know they would wish that I would be doing other things, but they've supported me regardless of how they felt about this thing that I'm doing. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. A couple of comments here coming from people who are tuned in. I can see Luis Muya back when we're having a conversation on the quality of music. He says Kenya has good quality music. We are just poor marketers of our art, especially internationally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Artists and Kenyans at large. Yeah, and I think that's something that we're going to be talking about a bit later in the show. And then Udimadenge from Atlanta anasema, I should have joined Christian Union. I think I was and then and then I can see hapa, you know, like people are commenting, some people are loving your music. Hapa Washeke anasema alikuwa anauliza kama tokens zimeisha. And then Washeke anasema I would have sacrificed my bras to free charisma.
Oh, thank you. Leta mambo. Na the wall of bras hapa kwangu. Kuna ukuta ya mabra. Hata I wish ningeshutia hii kitu hapo.
Okay.
Jeuri.
Okay, sawa. Now another thing about your music charisma is that I noticed there's a fusion of so many different local languages. You know, of course there's some English, there's Kiswahili, there's Kiluya, Jaluo, Kikamba. There's just multiple languages being fused into your music. And this issue of language has come up before, whereby there was a time when people had a theory that the reason why Kenyan music is not selling is because we're doing it in a language that people are not understanding. But that did not make sense. But that's what but unajua Kenya, we have that asset of, you know, you have people who know 4 or 5 languages, which is very rare in most parts of the world. I think a lot of people don't realize how rare this asset is. So talk to us about that, you know, like what advantage does it give you as an artist when you have that depth or being able to move between languages or even collaborate with people who can do other languages creatively?
Yeah, I think we're blessed, as you said, we're blessed to be in a country where there's so much in terms of like the diversity in language and all those kinds of things. Like Kenya kuna so much to offer. And I think personally, I want to say first of all, to the point that you made, that the problem is the language. One of Kenya's biggest international exports, even music from Kenya that has been used in movies in Hollywood, is Ayubogada. Ayubogada sings only in Luo.
Kothbiro
is Bro, Mick Miller alisampoliwa ngoma ama ni nani?
Hiyo kitu imesampoliwa na watu wengi. Me, I don't
Yeah.
understand. I never understood what that song said, but
Yeah.
ilikuwa inanifanya nilie. You know, like,
Yeah, like
you don't
you
even
don't even know
understand.
what
You don't even
Yeah.
know what you're crying about. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
string
So-
instrument.
Yeah. So just on that point, and then now I think I'm just a person who really loves the local languages and the local cultures and everything. And as urban as my music is, I try to fuse it with those local languages. And I think if you've been keen, especially on the Kenyan Afropop scene, there's guys like Okello Max, Costa Ojuang, Erosh, Wanjine, guys who are just doing predominantly their local languages, and their music is moving. And people used to say the younger dudes would never love this kind of stuff, but the young guys love it. The young guys love it. And I know a lot of young guys right now are like, man, I wish I knew my language more. I wish I could speak my language more. And it's just a way of exporting our culture and showing. But when I jump in the other vitu watuelewi, mi sielewangi kitu, mi sijui kitu yote nye kina Burna Boy husema for the most
No,
part.
I know, yeah.
You
But
know,
people are
but hiyo
jamming to the
mziki ni
music.
tamu.
Hata huyo
and-
flavor huyo.
kwanza flavor.
Yes, he sings
Yeah,
in his
when I come
dialect,
to
whatever his
Atuelei-
dialect is. Yeah.
Yeah, so this, I think it's just also for us Kenyans to share our culture, to show our culture and show the diversity in our country. Because we, as you said, us guys are the ambassadors of that. You know, hakuna mse mwingine atuonyesha say the diversity that's in the Kenyan industry apart from the Kenyan people. So I think for me it's just I love what we have here, and any chance to showcase it, I do. You know.
Okay.
You know, talking about, you know, cross culture. You remember the song? It was Samido and these other artists. Not Okello Max. They just chomoa the song where DJ
Yeah, that
Samido
was, yeah.
and one was
Prince
singing
Inda.
the Luo
Prince
and Prince
Inda.
Inda.
Yeah.
Janabi.
But it's in the-
Yeah.
Una, collab was like that, you know, and people are loving that, and it's like the young people who are consuming, taking it in,
Yeah.
and appreciating.
Yeah. So it's interesting, you know, like when it comes to the local languages, personally, I've been a strong advocate that these things should be actually added into the education system. And I know it's very controversial, but this should be added into the curriculum because we might end up losing these languages with all this urbanization. And the fact that, you know, like I've seen a pattern, and I'm going to get attacked for this. I've seen a pattern where, like, you have some parents, especially, you know, like wale wameishi Ocha, and I think it's because of that stigma of maybe the way they spoke English. They don't want to speak to their kids in mother tongue or in any other language. Now, when you come to diaspora, it's another layer. So there's some parents who only speaking to their kids in English, and maybe, okay, those ones are okay, they'll be living here. But nowadays, ukienda Nairobi, kuna watoto hata, you know, like hawasemeshwi hata Kiswahili nyumbani, which is very worrying to me. Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point, I think, because my mom growing up, so I used to ask my mom, why is it that a lot of, especially Luyas, I speak for us guys, like we don't know our language, yeah. And my mom was telling me the same thing you're saying, which is really interesting. Like for a lot of them, they were told how kuongea hivyo ni ushamba na nini. So they grew up knowing kutoka kwa block ni watu wako wajue Kizungu, Queen's English, you know. Wakuwe very well educated, but wako na hiyo ni kuwa fluent kwa English. But I get, even though walikuwa wanashoiwa. So you find that, bro, wacha nikwambie, unaona shags penye natoka deep mashinani, watu ya wajui Kiluya, unasema Nairobi. Watu ya
That is very true.
Yeah,
What?
Kiswahili, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think
Uliza
that's,
Mika, watu ya wajui Kiluya, like how
That is very true. Like
Yeah.
you see, when we go to Shago, and then we usually carry like our friends from different tribes, and the one thing they usually tell us like, mazee huku Shago kwenu kila mtu anajua Kiswahili na Kizungu. Like basically, for me, somebody like me, I learned to speak Luya when I was in high school because I went to Kakamega High School. If I hadn't gone to Kakamega High School, singejua Kiluya. Na pia siati Kiluya yangu ni poa vile. Unaona? My daughter
But now this is where I think there needs to be an intervention. Unaona kama like a lot of people don't know there was an intervention done in 1981. Moyo na ubaya wake wote. A lot of people don't know that Kiswahili was never a compulsory subject.
Correct.
A lot of people do not know that. Yeah, because maybe kina madha walipoenda skuli
It wasn't offered.
Yeah, you know, like back in the 70s, it wasn't. It was offered, but it was an optional language.
It was not compulsory.
So I have someone like my uncle who did Kiswahili in high school, but kina, you know, like kina, a lot of people did not do so. In 1981, I'm up early 80s when 844 was being introduced. That's when, you know, like it was made a compulsory subject to some controversy, but ikakubalika. I mean, of course, Kiswahili bado hatuko pali tunatakana, but at least it's in the public schooling system. At least anyone who goes through the public schooling system, at the bare minimum, hata kama asemeshi Kiswahili nyumbani ataelewa. So I thought with CBC, there was gonna be some creativity, because I think problem na language zikiingia, watu wanaanza kusema ukabila na nini, but I think there needs to be some creativity on how they can be integrated into the schooling system and even studied all the way up to university to research level where people can go research in these different languages. And then you see, because sometimes watu wanauliza kwa nini tunalani language, think about it. Kiswahili has given people jobs in media, in so many different spaces. Unaona, a lot of this vernacular media, it is so popular, but then, you know, like when you have a whole supply
within
of
a small market.
Within a small market. But when you have a whole supply of kids who are coming up that are not fluent in that language, it's gonna become more scarce to get people who can run those programs. So I think to me that's something that as a country, sometimes wanashanga Ministry of Culture ni kitu gani wa wanafanya, because these are the things that we need to be looking at. These are treasures that if we lose, we're gonna regret big time.
I've always been of the opinion, you know, and I think I've shared this, you know, it's good to have French Cultural Center, the Goethe Institute.
Yeah.
Ni sawa.
Ni sawa.
But what would be nice also would probably to have, you go to Kisumu, Luo Nyanza, you have a Luo Cultural Center. You go there, kuna vitabu, you learn history.
We have a Suba.
We have a Suba
Okay.
culture
I know the
center.
Subas have
It
one.
needs,
But
it needs to be there.
Yeah.
But it's something such that you can learn. You know, you like you can because if it's not going to be integrated that way, like in let's say in the curriculum, but you set up, you know, like when local tourism is promoted. Normally when we go, like when people go to, you know, you go to a museum, you go to a cultural center, whatever, you learn, you know, maybe 1 or 2 words, 3 or whatever. You get intrigued by the history of these people, you know, how they came to be, who was their leader, whatever, their way of life or whatever. So when you go to where Luyas are, you learn about the Luyas, you go to the Maasai, you go to the Pokots, you go to the Kalenjins or whatever. You get to appreciate that from that perspective and from that angle.
Absolutely.
Would it be nice to have, you know, cultural centers? Absolutely. I think that would be better. If you have for
But
French,
then for me,
let's tuweke Waluya ama Wakikuyu ama whatever.
for me, what I think is just that let's just talk this. Let's speak this language at home. Let's speak to our children. The first place where kids learn is at home.
Absolutely.
Correct.
When somebody is born, there is no specific language that is wired in their brain.
No.
They learn.
They learn.
They learn everything. They learn everything. That is why if right now you went and gave birth to a kid in India, they will speak pure Gujarati ama Urdu, wherever you are, whichever language, they will speak it purely because that is what they'll be spoken to, and they learn that. So if we don't speak to our kids in the languages, in our languages, and then how do you expect them to know them? Do you expect them to use Rosetta Stone to start learning their languages? Now, the cultural part is good, as Uno said. The cultural part has to be there. But then with the cultural part also, as you put it there, when you're getting modernized, most people tend to want to shun tradition and drop everything for tradition. I like this thing about the Kikuyu. Vitu kama rurashio, ngorario, nini. Those are things that they still keep and practice them, and they hold on to them dearly. They don't let them go. Culture like that is what's supposed to be put in. And then it comes back to where Kina Fidel come in, where culture in art
Yes.
is supposed to be preserved. So culture in art, I mean, like when you go to those rural shows, those two songs, those two women sing, those two shows, the clothes that they wear, those clothes that they wear, like the shields, the spears, everything that is done in tradition has to be preserved and done. And then now this is where you come in and merge it in with the modernization of art, and try to continue that education to it. Because for me, I just don't. If we just say we leave it to just the government to build cultural centers, we are going to lose it. Kwanza government ya Kenya.
But
na government ya Kenya, by the way, unajua hao sasa wamekuwa ni government ya TikTok.
Ndio government ya Kenya tayari ina feel na critical sectors kama healthcare, alafu mnataka watengeneze cultural centers.
No, but there's that aspect. But I agree with Mika. You know, Kikuyu say, "Gemishi magana moshi." Charity begins at home.
Absolutely.
So from our kids, we can build. We can build from that.
But you know, I also think we're the first generation who are realizing, because I think our parents' generation, they went through the trauma of colonialism.
Yes.
So we have to forgive them. We have to forgive them because there was so many different kinds of trauma they went through, and then this thing of kuambiwa weni mshamba na nini. But I think we are the first generation who are like, hold up, no, there's something wrong. We need to, we need to, and we are the lucky ones where we still have grandparents who are still very in touch with the culture and understand these things. So we are the bridge that will either hold it or completely
collapse it. Yes,
because and I want to shout out. So one thing I always say, I really respect Kikuyus and Luos for this thing. I don't know, for some reason, how Jua Lugazao, even the younger guys. So I was telling someone, it's so weird how even in this urban pop industry, it's only Kikuyus and Luos in the pop scene, yeah. And the reason is there's a place I used to stay on Kiambu Road, yeah. There's this lady, her kids go to like one of the most expensive schools in that area, yeah. However, wakiwa home, they're spoken to in only Kikuyu. And every day I used to, when they go up the apartments, I hear them talking Kikuyu to the kids. And I'm like, what the hell? Kila siku. But Nika realized, even though they're already being taught English, Swahili, whatever in school. But where are they going to learn their Kikuyu? So what you guys are saying is real. And what Mika is saying also with the fusion of art and now culture. So I always say, listen, Kenyans, we want Kenyan music to be played more and everything, want to play KA. But I really respect Nigerians for one thing. They've pushed their cultures. I've never been to Nigeria, but I know what Nigerian dressing looks like, traditional dressing looks like. I know what their ceremonies are like because I see them in music videos. I see them in those
in their
movies. Afro cinemas.
Correct.
You see them everywhere. Like they export their culture for real, and they're so proud of their culture. And even the pidgin. You know how back in the, I don't know, I feel like one of the biggest, or rather let me say, one of the biggest songs to ever come from Kenya is Kina Gidi Gidi Majimaji, what's it called? And
Bogabol, yeah.
Those songs, yeah. And they're in our native language. So just being comfortable in what we're doing and exporting our stuff should be something we really do going forward. I think we have an amazing culture, and we just need to share it. No matter how come Kenya kutembea, culture zetu ni kali, lakini si for some reason tunataka kuziondokea.
Yeah,
that's the irony.
Yeah, and hapa we have some comments coming from Louis Achungo. Chief Louis anasema Charisma chose his own path, unlike many Kenyan artists, and that is what appeals and sells because of his originality. He believed in himself and his talents. That is what we need, originality. And then he says, some of the current great artists, we do not even understand what they say, and we really do not have to. It is the talent and originality behind the sound. And then Louis Father says, many dance to Ohangla, but they understand zero. And then Apa Washeke was asking if you play any instruments.
Yeah, so acha naambia mimi kuna life yangu imenipiga makona manze. Hii kuna vitu tu zimehappen kwa life yangu zenye mixing. So first of all, just a short story. So growing up, my dad bought me a guitar when I was very young. Like I think nilikuwa kama 6 years old. But let me tell you, I hated that thing. I hated it. Ilikuwa inanikata vidole. Unajua kama unacheza guitar unajua guitar
strings, right?
The strings, they're normally hard. So I remember I used to be taken for lessons. don't listen. And then I was taking for keyboard lessons when I was also really young. So I know a bit of the keyboard, but I don't know how to play the guitar at all. And it's something I've had for a very long time.
Do you still
basically.
have the guitar?
Instrument, I still have one, but I don't, yani mimi niko na trauma na guitar manze.
Oh, wow.
Guitar nilikata vidole nikiwa mdogo, alafu babangu alikuwa anatu, unajua babangu alikuwa anadu ile kitu ni kama anatuforce. Haikuwa juu tunataka, ilikuwa cheza guitar. Nimekununulia guitar mbona ucheze? I'm like, I didn't ask you to buy for me. You know, but yeah, so the instrument I play now is the drums.
Huh.
Or rather the instrument I learned how to play is the drums. And
Interesting.
it's such a weird thing because I never play the drums anywhere. Like design me perform me ruka stage kila mahali. Like mimi ni msee wa kwa hapo mbele kuruka. So talent yangu ya drums inakuanga tu kejani manze.
Yeah.
So do you use that talent?
Kwa nyumba ndo nawadanganya.
So do you use that talent to when you're producing your music, like
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
for
So I
the
think-
dance for drums?
Yeah, so for me, I think even with the instruments I don't necessarily play, I've learned the basics of the instrument. So like I know chord work and that kind of stuff. I might not be able to play on a professional level,
Correct.
but I know what I want and I can play simple things that I'd like. So it really helps with production because I'd go to the studio and even if I don't know what it is that I can't play what I want, I'm able to express what I want. Even with drums, like I always say African music is very drum oriented, beat oriented. We're a very percussive nini. What is it called? Society. Like Iso, you know, even when you go to the Ohangla, it's the beats are the most amazing thing.
Correct,
Because
yes.
you know, so drums kwangu you come naturally na nikitumiwa apply sana kwa mziki nikitengeneza mziki yangu. And I like the drums sounding a certain way. Me, drums the one of the percussive side of the production is the one element that if it doesn't sound exactly how I want it to sound, that song won't sound okay to me at all.
Okay. Now, there's a comment here coming from Esther Mulusa who says Zulu is studied up to PhD level. They also have cultural days, museums, and read dance days that are purely cultural. In Kenya, we are losing our languages even in time villages where kids are speaking Swahili 99% of the time. I think this is something that needs to be addressed, you know, like
Yeah.
at a local level. I mean, of course, we have other bigger priorities like Charisma mentioned. We have other bigger priorities, but I think this is something that that seriously needs to be addressed community by community because at least we have gotten to that conscious
Yes.
to that conscious generation where they're like, okay, we're losing this and we want to hold it. I want
How do we get back on track?
Yes, we need to get back on track. And I remind those who are tuned in, that's tuned into the One Mic Show, and I'm your co-host and producer, Ali Badawi. We are talking to Kenyan Afropop artist Charisma. He recently launched his new album, The Motions, with pomp and color at Mass House in Nairobi. You can find his music on all major platforms via the link pinned in the comment section. There's a link pinned on YouTube and also on Facebook. Please click there and you'll get where to buy his music and where to subscribe and follow all his social media handles. Make sure you subscribe to all his platforms and also buy the music. We'll shortly be talking about some major collaborations on his album The Motion, so stay tuned to find out with whom. Our lines are open. The number to call:
Uko YouTube watu wamelala.
202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. Feel free to call in. Before we continue, we want to remind you that we'll have a Charisma special hit or miss later on. Please let us know in the comment sections which songs you'd love played by DJ Moshfire. Leo watu kidogo wamelala, so please just type up there. Click on your link here that I have on both Facebook and on YouTube. Sample the songs, check them out, and let us know which one you love. Or if you already know his songs, just type kwa comments ni gani unataka tucheze hit or miss segment, because we're gonna have a hit or miss special hapa baadaye kidogo. Now tuanze na hii collab ulifanya na Bensoul, Trust Issues. Yeah. Talk about that song and also talk about the thinking when it comes to the simplicity and the poetry of your videos.
Yeah.
Charisma.
Yeah. So the song itself is I think while Suda and I were writing this song, we're just thinking about what it feels like to be a musician and in this space, yeah. and while being in a relationship and how mtu ushukuiwa kila kitu manze. Unaweza kuwa tu studio unafanya job lakini blame and then you can't even blame people because it's also true. People, those things happen, yeah. But like, si ushukuiwa na everything manze. Like, and I remember there's times when I was in a relationship unakaa hivi chini manze, wewe uko tu studio na record ngoma ama uko karibu kwenda stage manze, mshasha na kutext uko happy, mbona ujibu ma text, una get like drama kama hizo. And that's why the lyrics are uko na trust issues kila siku unanishuku,
Okay.
kazi zangu za usiku zinakukera sana. Una get?
Where?
Like kazi yangu ya mimi kukua tu nje kufanya job juu tu ni usiku, juu sifanye job saa zenye watu wengine udui na kubo manze. And just for an artist just getting to a place where you're like manze, you know what, uniamini ishia manze, wacha ishe. Unajua one of the lyrics at the end is na itakuwa tu sawa hata tukiachana mamina na. So basically you're telling this girl it's gonna be great despite the fact that hata tukiachana, like, you know, it's gonna be painful, but you know what, it's gonna be okay, I'm gonna be fine. And it's like, yeah, ishia manze. So it's like umeshindwa kudeal na hii situation ni sawa. Na now when Bensol was writing it, we didn't just want to write it from the perspective of a musician only or the dude only. We also wanted to give the perspective of now a dude who's a bit insecure with his situation, you know. So Charlie manze ako tu place penye his girlfriend or his wife or whoever is coming late at home, is being dropped by other dudes. This dude he's with, she's with, doesn't have tunes like the dudes she's seeing outside there. So the guy is insecure and he's like, man, even I have trust issues, you know. And that's basically the story of that song. And when we do the music videos, why I do my music videos, how I do them is because I want people to watch my video and feel like, man, this could be me, you know, like this resonates. It's very relatable. Like it's something I've experienced or I could experience or I've seen someone experience, you know. Because I tell stories with my music, so I feel like I want my videos to be able to tell the stories. Nataka ukimute ngoma yangu ikiplay kwa TV ama kwa TNJ, ukimute anywhere and you just watch the video.
Interesting.
Like, damn, yeah, I kind of know what's happening. I can see the story here, you know.
Yeah, interesting. Because the one thing you may notice na video zako, and which is something that I picked up on the different videos I was watching.
Yeah.
There was an element of simplicity, but there was also an element of a story progressing. You know, like tulianza hapa tukatoka tukaenda hivi tukafika hapa. So I found that very interesting because I think one thing that I see nowadays is there's these very expensive videos that people do with drones na kila kitu. And some of them are good, but sometimes there's some where, yes, you can see those effects, but you kind of get lost. You kind of get lost in the weeds. Because to me, ngoma especially, me, I'm one of those people. Lyrics kwanza, mashairi are very important. Kuna mashairi nyingine unatumia, because mimi ni mtu wa mashairi. Me, there's things I hear that other people have not heard. Kama kuna time umetaja biringanya, I don't know whether mmesikia biringanya. Ebu tell us, ebu tuambie hiyo song hiyo ulitaja biringanya, na hiyo biringanya ni kitu gani? Biringanya kwa kizungu inaitwaje? Mimi unajua by the way hizi vitu eggplant, yeah. Biringanya, yeah. So
Allah,
yeah. So tuambie
ati birangoa
biringanya. Ish. Yeah. So
Biringanya Buddha.
yeah.
Wa?
So tuambie ngoma, kuna ngoma sikumbuki ilikuwa ni ngoma gani, because sasa
inaitwa sherehe. Hata niwaambie mimi waambia wase, mimi ni Mluya for real. Unajua vile mnaambia Luya manzee wako na form za nini za Kiswahili na kuanga ndani huko. Mimi ni mtu wa ndiposa, ndo manake mimi ni mse bro, mimi kwa minajili nishaongelesha dem nikamwambia mimi na baba yangu kila siku kwa madhabahu. Dem akashindwa, what? Madhabahu. When I get like me, I'm that type of person. So biringanya, for example, ni eggplant, yeah. And I was talking about sherehe. So the lyrics in the things are washa kishada kama uko nervous twanga kijaba usijelala kuna walevi wamekuja wamenyanya akina dada wanataka biringanya ndio sherehe imeanza kwa hiyo ndo life ya bash wasa wanakujanga kama wamelewa wengine wametwanga vitu zao alafu mademu wanakujanga wako prepared na wanaume wako prepared unajua wako prepared kufanya nini sasa sema biringanya nza nini
chakula yani after party wanaenda kula chakula wanaenda kupika
wanaenda kupika
wanakula salad
Really?
no unajua ni mashairi saa tunachambua unajua ni uchambuzi
sawa ni mashairi
uchambuzi na tuko na mshairi mwenyewe hapa
Omoj wanaenda kukula salad wengine wataitosa wengine wataikula bila kuitosa
Jesus is Lord
yani tumewaita kubamba
okay
yani huyu na nani walikuwa tu WhatsApp group moja
na nani
ule mse wa bongo ule waga mashairi na utupa vitu chafu uko ndani
no I mean unajua kwanza the interesting thing about mashairi
yes
you know like kufanya ushairi kwa sababu me I was very into mashairi even in school from nyumbani I come from a family that has also poets huko zamani is that Swahili poetry is very interesting. It's one of those languages where anaweza kaa na nikakutusi in such a clean way.
Correct.
In such a clean way mpaka hata ukasema asanti.
Hiyo ndio nasema mistari iko na vina.
Yes.
ate who?
Mistari iko na vina. Yeah. And you know
that's Madhogodhanios to you.
It is Madhogodhanio.
Yes, it is Madhogodhanios to you.
Madhogodhanio.
Yeah, and you know that's a creativity, that's a depth that you get especially when unaongea lugha tofauti because kila lugha ina ushairi wake. You know like each language Kikuyu ina ushairi wake, Kiluya, Kijaluo, each of these languages has its own very unique ways of expressing poetry. And that's why I'm saying, you know, like when we lose them, there's a lot of knowledge
gone.
Yeah, there's so much lost, man.
There's so much knowledge. Forget about just the language.
Yeah.
There's so much knowledge that's embedded within that language that you're not gonna have that knowledge unless you know that language. Unaona kama vile kwa Kizungu tunasema rice, but kwa Kiswahili kuna mpunga, kuna mchele na kuna wali.
Yeah.
That in itself tells a story. That in itself tells a story. You know, like mpunga ni ile iko shambani, mchele ni ile ambayo bado haijapikwa, alafu wali ni ile iko kwa sahani ile imeiva imepikwa tayari. And I know sometimes watu wanatumia mchele for both ile imepikwa, but that's incorrect. Yeah, that's incorrect. But that in itself tells a story. Nilikuwa nasikia language yao ma Eskimos, they have like, I don't know, a certain number of ways of referring to snow. You know, like different kinds of snow because watu wanaishi kwa snow. Waarabu, you know, I do understand some Arabic. Waarabu, they have almost 100 different names for camels.
Huh?
Yes.
For camels?
Yes, ngamia. Iko na jina karibu 100. It has 100 different names. You know, akiwa mdogo, akiwa kala fulani, yule ambaye iko karibu kwenda safari, yule ambaye iko karibu kuzaa, kona mimba ya miezi I think camels do 10 ama 11 months. Ule ambaye ako karibu kuzaa kuna jina special ako nayo. There are so many different and this is the hidden knowledge in all the different languages that we have. I'm sure right now in Kikuyu you can tell me so much hidden knowledge that if you don't know the language it will not make sense.
Let me tell you, my uncle is visiting and him and my mother sometimes they say something I have to be like, what does that mean? So, like now, for example, I'm gonna butcher this, but I will say it. Ya bori dete ya go itare mwate. Ya mbuzi. Ya mbuzi ama kondo whatever. Aitupwi before ipasuliwe mwate. So you don't throw a bone until you have cracked and take and kunywa or cool the bone marrow.
The marrow.
Oh, yeah.
That means that, you know, like when you maliza with the bone unaitupanga.
Yeah.
But ndani iko
Bado iko kitu, yeah.
Ati when things are bad kabisa, there's always that chance. there's
could have
always that
Camaro.
chance that break it, see there's marrow inside.
Ah,
So
okay.
kama mtu amepotea, you don't give up on them. In other words, my uncle was telling me, never give up on anyone.
Wow.
Unajua-
Yeah.
unajua- let me bring it.
Mika.
No, I was saying, let me bring it into something that can be relatable, especially for people out here in the diaspora. Na tukistick na theme yenye Karisma alikuwa ameanza nayo hii story ya mapenzi, dating, right? It's just like when you date a Kenyan and when you date an American. Unajua ukidate Mkenya umwambia anguka nayo ataanza kucheka.
Yeah.
Right? And like it's just easy to communicate. There are things whereby you can communicate easily by just like you understand each other at
Yes.
one level.
Yeah.
If it's an American that you're dating, ukimwambia anguka now you have to explain the joke.
Mwambie fall with it.
Yeah, like you have to explain things. You have to like there are things like they don't
Fall on
understand.
it.
So it's yeah. So
That
it's
too.
it's that yeah. So it's that as you're saying. There's a that cultural knowledge that you come with it. That is there with you. You've been raised with it. You've been born with it. It's something like right now. If a company if you go somewhere right now where Kenyans are, right? And like it's just a Kenyan gathering, and it's just and you say Tibim. Everybody's gonna reply,
Yeah,
"Tibim," right?
you'll get an answer.
everybody
You'll
goes,
get an
everybody
answer,
goes,
yeah,
"Tibim,"
yeah.
back to you, like you'll get an answer immediately. Like it's that
Yep.
cultural familiarity that is there that is supposed to be maintained and held there. So that is where hizo mashairi comes in, right? Anguka nayo ni mashairi.
Ni mashairi hiyo hapo.
It's a simple line anguka nayo, but it has a lot of meaning.
So many
Ilipigwa kwa
meanings.
maandamano, but ngoma ni ya sherehe, but still the same statement ilimaanisha shuka na like corruption tunaanguka nayo, tunaenda nayo chini.
Ruto, tunaanguka na wewe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like go down low, like anguka nayo, go down low, like everything. It was like yeah, ngoma ni ya sherehe, but unajua nini pia itatumia kukupiga nayo utakwenda. So there's that understanding that comes with that
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah, and that's interesting, you know, like and even in the Kiswahili language ukisikia tukimbizane nini Salome wangu hiyo michezo ya jogo, you already know what that means. Yeah.
I told you about those shairis.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, ukimwona jongo, you know, like you already know exactly what they're talking about. Simama kidogo, piga magoti. Anyway, wacha turudi kwa
Mama kama gogo, mtoto Jojo. Hello, see your robot.
yeah, I know. So people don't understand how there is sweetness, deliciousness, and depth
Oh, we have a caller
within
there.
our different languages. We have a caller.
Yes.
Okay, Aya, before we go to the next question, and of course, if you want to speak to Charisma, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Na hapo before to pick your call, Udia anasema, no, Mika amesema, so Washeke kwanza alisema tucheze wivu. On hit or miss, Mika nataka tucheze love me. So please type zile ngoma mnataka, and then Udia anasema there are books being sold in nice streets that will educate you on all languages. All right, very interesting.
That too,
Yeah. So let's go. But me, I'll tell you with languages, you know, like being a language teacher myself, it's very important to have a teacher and to have somewhere where you can practice the language. Very, very important. The biggest people you can practice with are your parents or the people you're living with. That's where you learn the fastest. Let's go to the caller.
Thank you for calling the One Man Show. 0073. Bond girl.
Umejuaje ni mimi?
Well, relax.
007.
Okay.
Aya, tuambie jina yako na unapiga kutoka sehemu gani, and then talk to us.
Okay, this is Washeke, #1 fan of the show from, Guatemala. Calling in from Guatemala.
Guatemala sasa.
Karibu.
Ate Guatemala.
Usijali Trump akuji kukushika huko.
Unajua mimi naamini ama anadanganya kwani? Mimi na believe.
Wewe amini tu. Wewe enda na hiyo story. Wewe enda na hiyo
Anguka
story.
nayo.
Anguka nayo.
Anguka nayo. Yeah.
Na we aliusome comment zote. Nimeandika let me know na wivu.
Yeah.
I want
Oh
this,
yes,
okay?
nime skip let me know. Pole hapo, pole. Pole. Yeah.
Before nisahau, because I have some questions I wanna ask Charisma, but because I'm gonna forget. You know,
Yes.
I have a senior mommy brain. Anyway, So in a few hours, it's gonna be Jojo's birthday. She's turning 10. So at the end
Oh,
of the show, Mumu, happy birthday. And if Charisma can play that song, let me know. I would appreciate.
kabisa, kabisa.
So to my question, so first of all, Charisma, thank you so much for staying late to talk to us.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't even know you as an artist, but I think it was Mika or one Mike who told us your album was coming out, and I played it like
Mika.
the first 2 weeks after it came out. I would play like on a loop.
Thank you.
I know all the songs.
Thank you so much.
So I have some questions for you. Nimesikia ukisema hapa that you wrote that one of the songs with Ben Soul. So do you typically write your own songs ama kuna zingine unaandikiwa? That's question number 1. Question number 2, to you, what's success? Watu wengine, success to them is, commercial success. But to you, what does success look like? Question number 3. I know a lot of artists, talk about, getting nerves when they get on stage or when they're about to perform. Do you experience that, and how do you deal with it? Number 4. So, have you ever been in a scenario where your audience isn't responding to your performance, like they look tired or bored, and if you did, how do you revive them so they're responding to you? And then my last question is, do you feel like music helps you in other areas of your life?
We?
What?
Hizo ni deep. Hata unazikumbuka zote?
Huyu ni mwalimu.
Number 1 was, do I write
Do
my
you
own
write
music?
your songs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 was,
Hebu remind us number 2. Washeke.
Number 2 is, how do you define success? Because I feel everybody defines success in a different way. So to you, Charisma, how do you define success?
Yeah. And then there was a question about stage fright.
Yeah.
Yes, the third one was
And
right.
people-
Do you experience it? And how do you deal with it? And then number 4 ilikuwa, like kama audience is bored and not responding to your performance, what do you do?
Unaanguka nayo.
And then alafu we
Oh, sorry.
focus. Question ya mwisho is, does music help you in other areas of your life?
Yeah. Okay. Great question.
Those are my
as
questions.
well. Thank you.
Huyu Washeke.
Thank you, Washeke.
Huyu ni mwalimu.
Guatemala.
Ameamua amalize mrasta.
Usiwasikize, don't live in Guatemala. I'm calling you from San Antonio, Texas, and hopefully
Hello.
one of these days you're gonna
Yeah, so hopefully utakuja.
Itabidi nikuja niwapigie mziki huko wake.
Uja urushiwe sidiria huku.
Tafadhali.
Haya,
American bra.
okay, American bra. Hizo si fake.
Si fake man. Kitu designer.
Kitu
Kitu
designer.
Victoria's Secret.
Haya, sawa. Talk to us.
Yeah.
5 questions umeulizwa.
Yeah. So number 1, predominantly I do write my music. So for the most part in my career I've written everything that I've sung. For this album, however, what we did is I explored co-writing, which is a concept we're doing. So we have a new group we've formed. It's called the Kodong Clan. It's myself, Bensol, Okelo Max, Costa Ojuang, Watenda Willy, and Mordecai from Had the Band. And what we're doing is just coming together and helping each other and creating music and holding each other accountable. We're also doing an album together that has serious solid songs. So for this album, myself and my friend from Watenda Willy, I don't even know, they have a song called Chamtum that's really big in Kenya, in Akubalika with Matata. So you can check those songs out also. We wrote the songs with him predominantly, so I co-write with him sometimes. But yeah, so predominantly I write my songs. How do I define success? For 100% as a pop artist, commercial success is important to me. But one of the most important things for me is just being able to export Kenyan music, and I think maybe we shall delve into that later. And that's why I really, really appreciate being on a platform like this that allows me to put my music out to an audience that I wouldn't have reached otherwise, or it would have taken so much more to in order for me to reach them. So yeah, just exporting music and being able to make people appreciate Kenyan music all over the globe and all over the world. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's success for me. One of my biggest dreams is I want to fill Bukungu Stadium in Kakamega. Charisma Live, I want Charisma Live to be something people move from Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Kiambu, they come to Kakamega, Bukungu Stadium, wanachukua ma Airbnb, wanangoja gig ya Charisma manze. Charisma na perform live at Bukungu Stadium, 30,000 strong, whatever the capacity is. So that's a dream of mine. So yeah, when I talk about success, those are the kind of things I'm thinking. Stage fright is something I really experienced early on in my career. However, and I think for the most part why I had stage fright is because as I told you guys earlier, I was never a musician way back in my career, way back in my life. So I was just afraid of going off key, not sounding great, But when I became confident in the things that I do in my craft, yeah, I really got to a point where I'm gonna be honest, I don't get stage fright. Whenever I go to a stage, I feel at home. I think me as a performer, for Charisma as a performer, the stage is, like as an entertainer, the stage is my favorite place. There's nothing I enjoy in music more than performing, than being on stage. It's the thing I do the best. It's the thing that na kutoa shati manze. Hizo ndo vitu I think career yangu imemekiwa na live performances zangu. Huku Kenya, Nairobi, wherever you go, Mombasa, if there's one thing people know about me is I go on stage and we give a show like myself, my band, and my dancers, my BGVs, we give a show like no other. So I don't have stage fright because I think I really believe in how I perform on stage and what I do on stage. So I've gotten used to it. And also, I guess, years of doing something is just like you guys, studio, and with your platform. Yeah, you've done it so many times. I see kazi ngumu anymore. When I get me second nature in many ways. Yeah. How do people responding to a performance? Yeah, I've been in those situations, especially early on in my career and sometimes I think one of the things we made a mistake with is we went to perform in areas that just didn't resonate sometimes with our music. Kuna place zingine tu mziki yenu wase hawajali nini mnaimba manze. Tushai kwa place unaimba wase hata hawaangalia hata stage.
Hizo ni place kama gani sasa? Hizo ni place kama gani sasa? Kule mziki.
Unajua na si ati ni mbaya, but kuna time, so when I was still with the band, yeah, tulikuwa ngoma yetu number 1 ilikuwa ngoma big ndio, na tukana ngoma zingine zimesonga, but tumepelekwa Kisii ndani deep.
Watu wa Mbaramba
Watu Mbaramba baada ya kitu. They could not care less. They could not give two shits about what we were saying. Like, kwanza kuna mama anasema nawa kizungu yote wanatuambia ya nini? Na unajua unasikia, alafu unajua wase waocha ni wa loud. Hakuna comment na wapita, hawasengenyi, wanawaambia
live.
Wanawashow manze. And also just the thing about being an artist is learning how to also control the audience. I think it's something you learn over time while being on stage and knowing how to read an audience and what to give the audience. Sometimes imekata so unafikiria, okay, how do I twist this thing to fit them? I remember so after the Mandamano, we had the thing at Uhuru Park just to celebrate the people, the lives of the people who had lost, and the guys were injured and tried to fundraise and all those kind of things. Manze, unajua audience different. I sing to, like, my audience is predominantly an urban audience, but you see we had every kind of person in that concert. And I remember there's a lot of artists who struggle because hawajaimba kwa stage kama hiyo. Na mwanzo wacha ni wa show. Hawa seni watiaji. Ulikuwa unaanza ngoma yako ya ma feelings wanafanya hivi. Asika mlikuwa mnakula tear gas pamoja. Ba, wasa wanakuchuja alafu anakufanyia hivi unakufa moyo. So mimi nakumbuka niliingia stage nikijiambia, okay, I am faced with an uphill battle, but you know what? I've been performing for a while. I know what to do. I know the songs that I'm gonna perform here. Pia kuna unajua kama msanii unajua kuna place utaenda una hiyo audience ujue hii ngoma haiwezi imbwa hapa. Ama imagine ni when msee una perform ka Kenya. Unajua mimi naambia say audience ya design si ufanya mashow Kenya na majusi same.
Is different.
Mimi na majua say usiku wa manane wanachezewa ngoma ya feelings na kina Bruno Mars na wanaimba. Wakenya ukiwaingia ngoma za ma feelings wamelewa wanakurushia mamawe manzi. Unaget? Culture yetu ya concerts ni different. Na
Wanataka kudance.
Wasa wanataka kudance. Hakuna mtu anataka kusikia ati vile unapenda bibi. Hakuna bro. So ni understand two audiences na understand stage. I was talking to my boy. We had traveled to Malaysia for about 2 weeks, yeah. Na kulikuwa na concert ya Bruno Mars huko manze. Kitu ilinishtua sana because hata mimi acha niwaambie kweli siko well travel, lakini in Jesus name ndo nimeanza, ndio kuanza. Unaelewa?
Kama Ruto.
Ndio kuanza.
Kama Ruto.
Nataka nipande ndege kama Ruto sasa. So I was in shock because I remember when they were putting out the posters for the gig information, they're like Bruno Mars ataingia stage 8:30 but mpaka 10:30 gig imeisha, wase waende home. Nasema hakuna hata DJ atacheza after party nini, like no. You know how in Kenya we are so used to
correct
hata main actor ataingia stage midnight ama 1 hiyo kitu bomika
huku diaspora hata 3 huku gig za Kenya huku hata 3 saa zingine
hata 4
yeah it's happening
asubuhi.
Yes.
Yeah, but 3 asubuhi, but then unajua concerts huko America, concerts which are by midnight, the latest.
Lakini za Wakenya na za Wakenya
no, like if you do a proper concert, like if you do za Kenya upika 3 which is the normal 3 juna na DJ, but then if ni Mkenya umpeleke place kama Howard Theater
huko wezi make
yeah by midnight.
But you see that's what I'm saying, so the culture is so different, yeah.
It is, yeah.
So I think ni understand to surrounding yako na kujua nini na happen na una deal na hiyo. But ni interesting sana kwangu na feel kama zapata culture shock deadly sana. So niwaulize Dunda tuseme msanii ameanza perform midnight, watu wanaenda home ama wanaenda
no bado wanaendelea well, depending on the venue
kama ni venue kama hizi theaters like Howard mnaenda home you know
lock stock barrel funga tokeni
funga mnaenda but kama ni hizi dunda za kawaida kuna hizi ma appearance where an artist is just appearing hata hajakam kuperform yani amekuwa tu kwa flyer anapia mtamuona kwa stage lakini hata perform. Huku clubs wa mostly zinafungwa depending on what state huko clubs zinafungwa kama 3 am ukiwa place. No, by the way 3 am is late. Kuna states zingine zinafunga hata 2. You know 130 lights
wanasha lights 145
130
all
lights
alcohol off the table 2 o'clock out
and then
mnamaanisha nini?
No, yes
ati all alcohol off the table.
Yes
yeah, no alcohol
na mtu mwenye analipa
hiyo shauri yako kama ulipa shauri yako.
Unajua huku unakwanga umelipa before ifunguliwe, so you have like lazima unakwanga umepeana kadi before ifunguliwe. Alafu unajua kuna last call, so kama club inafungwa 2:30 last call kwa 1:30.
Okay, so what time do you go to the club? So unajua manzeni hii ni interesting kwangu na feel kasa mimi ndo na wa interview
so ingia club between saa 4:30 to saa 5
na alafu yes
alafu mnatoka by na hili mnasema 3 ni late.
3 ni late.
Yes.
Ukiwa pale unafika 3.
So pale kinaliwa naishi club ufungwa 2:30.
Oh yeah, by the way huko side zetu ni mapema.
Huko pale sisi naishi huko south wa kwa bit lenient tunafika 3.
Hiyo sasa ni limit.
Alafu kuna states-
Kenya
kuna-
mnatoka kwa club. Junior wase wa states mkikuja Kenya ndo mnatoka club
But-
8 asubuhi.
but
Correct,
usharealize
because
the revenge.
usharealize watu states Kenya kuingia club saa 7 usiku.
Kweli.
Alafu another thing is that ukienda sasa place kama Vegas, huko kuna club za 24 hours.
Yeah, Vegas ni 24 hours
Sa
kama
Vegas,
Kenya.
Vegas is a different world. Vegas is wewe unaweza kuwa unatoka club na unaona ndio
Kuna
ile pale
shift
sunrise.
inaingia.
Na kuna shift inaingia.
Kwa mnamaanisha yani kuna jua na watu wako club.
Yes.
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 Sasa Las Vegas.
Na hapo hata in fact wanazima nini masaa. Huwezi jua ni saa ngapi.
Wanazima
Huko ndo unanipeleka huko.
Yes, sasa
Usijali. Vegas uta explode, usijali. You're good.
huko mpaka utachoka. Uoshasikia kuchoka, utachoka. Unaona kama during rugby there is a place that Kenyans walikuwa wanaenda inaitwa Planet Hollywood. Kuna it's not even a club. What would you call that place?
It was a
It was a sports bar.
It was a
It was a
It was a
sports bar.
sports bar. Hiyo kitu is open 24 hours. So Kenyans wanaingia in different shifts. Kuna wale wanaenda game na kuna wale hawaendi game. Kuna wale walienda out wakachoka wakaenda wakalala, and then 5 am
Wanaamka.
ndo wanamka ndo wao weko fresh wameoga wanaingia, alafu kuna wengine wanatoka na place imejaa, it's full to capacity. So yes, so culture shock, yes, especially with the nightlife, you will see it here, and it all depends on which part of the
Utajua hujui.
kuna
Yeah,
states.
no, 100%. Because
But
even
it's
in
a-
Malaysia, bro. In Malaysia,
But yeah,
you know how Kenyans in Kenya we go to the clubs due at 10, 9. Si tulienda club 10 manze, tuko tu sisi wa Kenya, sisi wenye tuko pamoja. Hawa sema naingia club 1, 2.
Yeah, it's
You know what the hell?
different culture.
Yeah, different
Yeah,
cultures,
insane.
different yeah.
Different culture, but
So I
we'd
think,
love to see you.
Washeke, your questions have been answered.
No, there's 2 questions that have not been
Oh,
answered.
2 questions, oh,
I
sorry.
think alianza 3 peke yake, usahau maswali za Washeke.
I think nimeanza zote.
Umeanza zote? Okay,
I think-
sawa.
Is she
No,
still-
bado, but no.
Oh, no, wait,
Bado,
does music help in
bado.
other areas in my life?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think
That's what.
especially as a dude, especially as an African man, I think I've also grown in a house where I don't want to say they didn't allow me to show emotion, but najua tu wanaume vile tunaambiwanga usifanye hivi, usilie, usifanye vitu kama hivyo.
Kangumu,
I think
kangumu.
music- Yeah, kangumu. Music imenisaidia sana kujiexpress, yeah. There's things that otherwise I would have sat with and bottled and zingekuwa tu vitu zimepita na mimi, but music, I'm able to express myself in a way that most people are not able to. And I think it also helps other people who listen to my music to express themselves in one way or another by virtue of, unajua tu ukisikiza ngoma saa zingine inakupatia emotions zingine unaget unaanguka nazo nini. So I think music has helped me a lot. I would say a lot in terms of just expressing myself and being vulnerable, even as a dude.
Even healing from the time you were smitten.
Yeah.
We wacha stories za kanisa bana please.
Oh, selituambia vile hapa mazee dem alikuwa amemkanyanga kama amemchanganya ile dedi.
Yeah.
Ilikuwa kanisani.
Alikuwa
Oh,
heartbroken.
kanisani,
Yes.
alikuwa heartbroken.
Yes.
Naacha niambia kuna wasichana wanavunjanga mtu moyo kama wasichana wa church.
Umejaribu kuongea naye 5 years.
Kwanza anakupiga hadi na mavases na ni mtoto wako na mashida kama wewe, lakini anakupiga hadi na mabible.
I think he needs an album.
Hapa itabidi umeandika ngoma.
Church mbaya. Ndio demo club.
Washeke, you content now, Mayo?
No, kuna hiyo
I
hapo.
think
I think there was one
Yes,
more
so
question.
No, he has answered all the questions. That if you're not paying attention today, we'll fire you. Thank you, Charisma, for answering my question.
Where?
Thank you.
Thank you for answering. And then hopefully before we call it a night, please, play that song and Muimbia, my baby, happy birthday. She's turning 10 in a few hours.
Oh, nice.
I know.
You said what's her name?
I think
Jojo.
Jojo.
Si aimbe tu sahi.
What is,
yeah.
no,
Ama?
I think she's called, what is her name? What's her mambo ya
Jojo.
nickname?
But
See, Jojo is her name.
Jojo is her name.
Who told you it's a
Yeah, yeah.
nickname?
Johari.
Yeah?
Etagwate.
Jojo.
Johari.
Johari, thank
Johari.
you. Jenny, easy man in his end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So aimbe sahi ama aimbe later?
Ama imbe later.
Aimbe tu sahi.
Aimbe tu sahi.
Aimbe tu say
Like,
Imbe sahi.
hata Johari.
Eh?
No, mnaweza imba later.
Okay.
Imbeni later ndio nimuita akuja asikie. She's
Okay,
busy.
sawa. Let us know.
Okay.
Let us know
Okay,
when she's
sawa,
there.
sawa,
Sawa.
Piga signal.
Piga
Sawa,
signal.
sawa. Hiyo hapo poa. Now another thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I'm gonna drop off.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks.
thank you Asheke. Now another thing Charisma hapa. Mziki
Yeah.
siku hizi iko na do Kenya because wasanii wa Kenya walikuwa wananungunika sana. Walikuwa wanalalamika kwamba mziki haina hela.
Na Ezekiel amefunga benki.
Watu walikuwa wanapatiwa sijui ilikuwa ni pesa ngapi zile za M-Pesa. Ilikuwa ni pesa
Lakini wachana hizo ghasia za useless people.
3750 I think or something.
Yeah.
25.
1250. Usitupunguzie pia.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was saying 25 because you remember ngirimbili sotano.
Yeah, lakini outside
Ulikuwa umesema 2500. Kumbe
Yeah.
unaongeza.
It was coming in stages. It depended on which one you are getting.
More than
Kuna
sorry.
ile
But
ya
let me tell
12.
you, no. So
yeah.
the thing about the music copyright bodies in this country, that first of all, I want to say all of them are dumb. They're useless. They do this thing where they give people an equal share. You're not paid based on how much your music is played. And the reason why that happens is because when MCSK or whatever other stupid body does those meetings of theirs, they tell people to vote. How many want us to pay you equally? So of course, a bulk of musicians are not getting airplay like the ones at the top, you know.
Yeah.
So pesa inagawanywa equally manze. Tunatumiwa 1,250 per year. Now your 1,250 was actually a career high. Wow, you know.
That is sad.
Yeah.
That is very sad.
1250. So and that really sucks because it really sucks when you're making your music and it's playing on radio and it's playing on TV. You've worked your ass off and everything is online on the radios, but hakuna kenye wanna make from your stuff. However, yes, music is making money,
But not for the art.
I can't compare. I remember when I was starting out with the band and now it's different, bro. The scene is so different. I was telling someone, man, like the young guy. Okay, I'm the younger guys younger than me who are getting into the industry are getting paid amounts that I wouldn't have thought. Like hata singefikiria kuuliza msee. Napata kamsee kameanza juzi kakupoa anadupoa anapatiwa hata so tatu manze. Unajua dopoa manze kwa kijana yako na miaka 22, 21. For anyone really in Kenya, in dopoa. So I think scene may change manze. I think there's a bigger appreciation for Kenyan music. Now Wakenya wameanza tu sijui nini happen. Wakenya walianza tu kulove shows za Wakenya. I think always one of you feel kama kuna hiyo period ni Sauti Sol ilikuwa imetokea. Kuna kina Had the Band and then kuna sisi kina Le Band and a couple of other bands that came out when you tuli push the live scenes a lot for the last like 10 years, yeah. Ilifanya wase waka love live music mbaya, and I think a lot of us guys who are doing live music now are earning, and it's so dope because you don't even for a lot of guys you don't even have to have the big massive hit. Just be a great performer. People just want to see you for being a great performer. They don't care about the millions of views that you don't have. They just want to see a great performance, and guys are paying for shows. The fact that I'm able to put a concert, it was something I wouldn't have dreamt about at the Nezakatiko 1500 bob na ni sell out show. Ungeniambia hivyo 5, 6, 7 years ago ningekwambia wewe wazimu ni. Tulikuwa tunakatiko 500 na bado show hazijai. So I think landscape in a change now. The only thing I think the onus now is on Kenyan musicians to just keep applying pressure and keep working, and now try and look at the areas that we fail on and improve them. Because someone said things like marketing, and it's something I've had a conversation with Mika and a lot of my boys about, like, we need to improve things like marketing and just be better in those sectors. So like we need to apply more pressure to do much more to make sure this thing that's happening, this boom, this fire that people have for Kenyan music doesn't end, for the Kenyan live scene doesn't end, for attending Kenyan shows doesn't end, because it's not that we're owed anything, you know. But yeah, right now the situation is different. I definitely believe it could be better because unajua manze chenye nanifanya hata niseme hivyo nasikianga Davido anakam Kenya manze ana perform, nasikia Davido amelipwa, alafu wewe dhani ulikuwa unalipwa poa. Nasikia Davido analipwa
reality check.
Reality
manze hata hatulipwi.
Yeah, lakini sasa kama mna pull crowd, like for example, like kama una pull your crowd, for example the one that you pulled at Mass House, ambao umesema iko na capacity sijui ni 1800 or 2000 people na ilijaa. Is it that pia kuna vile maybe there's a certain conditioning whereby msanii wa kutoka nje atalipwa kiasi akona rate yake, na msanii wa Kenya despite kuwa ana sell out na kuwa mpaka kuna watu ambao wamehata tickets, yeye bado atalipwa tu ile yake ile ya kawaida.
To be fair, Kenyans we've not been selling out shows for a while.
Okay.
Ndo maana hata mimi ku sell out show yangu ilikuwa big deal hata online na kila place. Jusi kitu ina happeningi. So I think tuko kwa hiyo stage nye ma shows na sell out na chenye ina happen ni what you're starting to see is a lot of now, even for me, my rate card is different. What my rate card was before my show and after is different. So of course there's an improvement in terms of how we're being paid because of this thing. So I think the boom is happening. And again, as you guys said, so the thing is earlier on, there was a lot of Nigerian music and even now there's a lot of Nigerian music still in Amapiano, which is really big in Kenya. So I was saying a too based off ngoma zao kuwa big vizi Kenya, so unaget so ni kazi yetu pia sisi kama wasanii, unajua kuna hiyo point ya tunataka wasanii support 100%, but pia ni kazi yetu for us guys pia kutry kufika hizo levels zenye say wako, and mlisema kitu kama marketing, just figuring it out, how do we also put our music in a place like where Amapiano has put themselves, Afrobeat, how do we brand ourselves and put ourselves there, so that even us guys are being paid in the same kind of way, you know. Because pia mtu ulipiwa na value yake, hawezi tu lipa juu unajua analipwa 90 million, hata ulipwe 90 million juu tu ni msanii. Lazima kuwe na kitu,
lazima kuwe na value. Yeah,
job ndio ulipiwa, si tu juu ni msanii.
But sasa our wasanii, these big artists in Kenya like in a BN for example,
yes.
And I personally don't know their rate cards. But sasa wasanii wakubwa like in a BN, do they make
Nyash,
kina Nyash, do they make those big amounts that these artists from outside make? Like for example,
so I said they make those guys are paid in the millions. That's fine. But the truth is, honestly, you still can't compare their millions to Davido's millions in terms of pay.
No, absolutely.
Davido alipwa sijui nilisikia ilikuwa 99 kama 70. And life change. Mimi ukinipatia 70 million sahi
hatukuoni tena.
Ataacha
nyinyi mnasema nyinyi, hata mama yangu anioni.
I hope hajakusikia. I hope hajakusikia. Like at least utakuwa umemwachia at least ka 10% hapo kabla.
Lakini no, basically I mean I'm joking, but you don't do more. When I get 70 mic for a show,
that is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, but you see our Afrobeat artists, they are commanding more money than American artists.
Yeah, they have the numbers.
In the US,
they have the numbers worldwide. Worldwide.
They have the numbers.
But the thing is, no, I think the thing here, what I wanted to ask is that, we're talking about pay, but then we're talking about artists making more music, like taking advantage of this. But one thing I've always said about, and I'll always continue calling about, is that in Kenya we have good artists just to produce music, talent. The thing that most artists lack in Kenya is the learning the business of music. They know music.
Yes.
They know music very well, but they don't know the business of music.
Yeah, that's not normal.
And I think this is something that me and Fidel fight a lot about. Right? Like, anaweza fanya kitu nimwambia hapana, don't do that. And then ananiambia mimi ndo msanii na mimi nawaambia wewe ndo msanii but mimi ndo mfanya biashara hapa. So don't do that. Do something different. And so I just say, and looking by your album launch, which was very impressive. A lot of things that shows how you've grown in the business side of music. I just want you to talk about what do you think that other artists need to do to grow that side, and what do you feel like you need to continue growing on that side of the business of music, because that is the most important thing. Because even you closing borders depends on you understanding the business side of music, not just music itself.
Yeah. So and I like this question, Mika, because so one thing I start by saying is we don't have enough business people in the music industry. You know.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
you see, for Nigeria, for example, yes, they understand the business, but mostly because there's the business people in the music. Yeah. By that I mean managers, proper people connected in the industry, people who understand the music business. In Kenya, unajua manzi siwezi kuwa msanii na bado ndo na control business ndo na dui na ni ngumu. Unaget, kuna an area that will suffer. Either it's going to be my music or the business side of the music.
Yeah.
So I have to pick something that I do. So one of the things we lack in this country is people in the music business. Actual business people to run the music business, so that the artist can be the artist and the business can be run as the business. I remember, so there's a time when Wizkid was here, and we were performing, so we were curtain for him, and we chilled together like the whole day, had such great convos, and Wizkid was telling us how he doesn't know anything. Like I've forgotten, his manager was called Sunday or something. He's the one who runs everything basically. Like Wizkid achwangi kitu, yeye kazi yake ni make music ever since he was 16. And I was like, those are the people we lack. You see, those people that Wizkid has that are helping him to get to that point, those are the people we lack in the industry. We don't even have enough entertainment lawyers in this country. There's like 3 or 4 people, and you hear about them everywhere. You know. However, I think artists still should be conversant with the music business. It's very important, in my opinion. It's very important to just know about it, even the basics, yeah. Because unajua pia ukianza hautakuwa na management, hautakuwa sijui na nani, utakuwa na mavitu zenye una deal nazo mwenyewe, na I think hizo ndo vitu zenye tuna need to learn, because those things are what now we go. That's why we're going into things like marketing, branding, and all those kind of things. What not to do, what not to say, what to say, you know, those kind of things that make a difference, you know. Because my question was, when in Kuala Lumpur in the clubs the whole time, bro, unajua, of course kuna clubs za Africa na nini, unasikia African music, but in all the clubs I was hearing Afrobeat everywhere. You know, everywhere, man. Like hata tulienda club fulani ya ilikuwa underground, bado wanacheza ma Afrobeat, and I was like, yeah, there's something these guys are doing in a business sense that we're not doing, you know, that the rest of the region has not caught up to. So I think it's just improving, and I don't want to lie that I fully understand. I think it's something I'm slowly starting to grasp. Another thing is, I think just corporate backing perhaps is something that would really help our industry, where let me not choose even a Safaricom, walikuwa watu walituzimia masimu, walifanya tushikwe na polisi, like an Airtel. Yeah. An Airtel will sponsor an artist and back their videos and things like that, because I've had a lot of Nigerian acts say the corporate backing they get, or the funding they get, even from just the rich guys, or financial investment they get from people back in their countries, what really pushes the industry. So those kind of things, man, just business people investing into the industry, in whether it's money, just their brains, and all those kinds of things would really help. Yeah.
Now that's interesting. You know, like a very good question asked by Mika, but one thing that I once had Ted Josiah saying, you know, like with because you know Nigeria used to look up to Kenya. That's the funniest thing ever that we hear about. They used to look up to Kenya, but one thing I had Ted Josiah once say is that in Nigeria, you know, the way in Kenya, like all these rich people, wash people who've stolen money, they all go to real estate. So it was like at some point in Nigeria, you know, like those people with a lot of money decided, you know, like, why can't we also try to get into this industry? so they just threw money in there, you know, like, so ndo unakuta some mtu kama Wizkid anakuambia from when he was 16 he doesn't know anything because someone spotted the talent and then they already had this structure, and then once they figured out that there's a way of making money out of this, they're like, let this kid keep making music, let us make more money, let us pay more. The more we pay him, the more money we make on our side. So now in Kenya, the rich people have not gotten into the culture of investing in the arts. Everybody wants a plotty, everybody wants a shamba,
Maguta.
yes, everybody wants an apartment, but people have not gotten into that culture of taking a risk. Like kuna msanii ana miaka 16, let's just back him and let him just make the music and see how far it can go. So hiyo bado. And me, I say the moment whoever will crack that code, I'm telling you, like now
It's gonna be a game changer.
it's gonna be a game changer in everyone. Unajua vile Kenyans wanapenda kufuatana kama kondo. Once they start seeing millionaires or rather even billionaires from that industry, everybody will now start jumping in. Kind of like what happened in Nigeria. In Nigeria, they have other local artists who've not made it out, but they're still making good money, you know, to survive inside of Nigeria. So yeah, so that's a good thing. What about touring? Kuna time wasanii wa Kenya walikuwa wanakuja wanatua sana US. What's going on that side? Ni kwa mtaki kuja huku ama what exactly
okay. Na like convo manze, because this is something I'm really passionate about. Nilikuwa na one of the things I've been saying, mi sitaki, mi naonanga, and I don't mean any shade, but naonanga wasanii wa Kenya wanatua wakiwa 45 years old ndo wanaenda states tour. Kama msee ana miaka 20, nashindwa mbona career iliisha 10 years ago ndio anaenda tour. Mi sitaki kuwa that type of person, and I think we've had conversations with promoters, and one of the things my team and I were saying is we need to make it make sense for both parties. Yeah, I think there's normally the disconnect is what an artist thinks their worth is or feels is their worth, and what can actually be paid to make the whole thing work. So one of the things I've been discussing with different promoters, or rather my team has been discussing with different promoters, just from my end, I told my team, let's just make this thing happen for now. The most important thing at this point in time is to export. Let's find a compromise. So for example, I like performing with my own band. I have a band I've practiced with for so long, and I like performing with them. However, it's not easy to come to the States with 5 more people, considering ROI and everything, you know. So what do? Maybe we come to the States, I come with my what is it called, music director, and we get a band in the States. That way we've made it cheaper for everyone, and now we're performing a live set with a band, but on the budget is cheaper because we're not transporting all those people there. So I think the disconnect has always been people are not willing to compromise. And I've had conversations with Nigerian acts who've told me, initially we weren't paid what we wanted because we had to sacrifice. We had to sacrifice and be like, okay, listen, I want, say, let's just throw around a figure. I want 5 million Kenya shillings, yeah. But if I'm paid 5 million Kenya shillings, this promoter is not able to make profits. He's not able to take me to these places that he wants to take me to. If I tell him I want to bring my entourage of 20 people, it becomes unaffordable. He can't take me. So what do? I compromise. I reduce the number of people I go with. I reduce the amount I'm paid. But what I've done, I go out there with a mission. My mission is simple. I want these people to see my performance and see what I'm doing. By the time I'm coming next time, my value is not the same, you know. So I think it's just compromises that need to be made between organizers, the event organizers, the promoters, and the artists to export this music, because we're working as a team. Na kwa tu genuine na each other. I think that's the thing. Just being genuine with each other, kwa honest, transparent, so that isikuwe pia ati mse mmoja anamecompromise na mwingine anaiba. Because these are the challenges as again to face. Yeah, but I think just compromising on making it work. Because me personally, I'd like to be touring the States right now. I'd like to be touring Europe. I want to tour while I'm young. Nataka nipatie watu States nikiwa na nguvu. Nisikuje huko hata nikiimba sauti iliisha. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, not Nikki. Yeah.
well, that's an interesting point, and I'm gonna come here to like to DJ Omosh Fire, because we tunajuana now promoters, like, and actually, like there's a whole
this guy and promoters.
there's
you
a
know,
whole-
throws me in.
there's a whole WhatsApp group that we are in where they all candidly talk about these issues, whereby wanasema, like, honestly, ile do huyu msanii anaitisha, there's not gonna be a return on investment.
Yeah.
So why would we kill? And I'll tell you another thing that people maybe in Kenya don't know. And I don't know whether I should be saying this. Unaona our wasanii wa Tanzania wakubwa. Guess what? Their shows are flopping in the US. And yeah, they're flopping in the US, and I'm just
Milioni mmoja anaitwa Nandi. Hey,
so
milioni alikuwa anaambia cleaners.
so hiyo ya Nandi.
Alivyo ni kwa fan pekee.
I was one of the people who was there. Na hata sijui hiyo video ilikufikiaje. Hiyo ya Nandi was back in 2018. And I remember that same night.
Was I there too?
No, you are not there. Your night, I'm telling you, total number of people, including bouncers, bartenders, ilikuwa kama 22.
You guys are mean.
Yeah, that's total, including
22.
yeah, including the people who are working
You guys
there.
are mean.
So I remember that night candidly because kulikuwa kuna nyesha, and then it was the same night that it was the
Kulikuwa na
first
boxing.
fight. Kulikuwa na boxing, kulikuwa na fight ya Deontay Wilder na Tyson Fury. So that was the first mistake. So mimi, yeah, it was the same night. It was the first, and then now the thing, the venue wasn't showing that fight. So nikajua hapa, this is gonna become a problem because that was a big thing that was happening. So hiyo kitu iliflop, na hata mimi niko surprised kwa ulipata hizo nini, ulipata hizo picha, because pia mimi nilikuwa contacted nikaambiwa Rosafi hizo picha usisambaze. And I was kind, because like I know the promoters na nini, nikasema okay sawa, and that's the thing that I also like about Tanzanians, wanajua kufichiana aibu zao. Like no one knew, because kulikuwa na show, yani ilisikikana tu kulikuwa na show, but no one knew ever, no one ever knew what
the
happened.
resultant features.
No one ever knew what happened. Yeah, hiyo show nakumbuka, I think kina Delphine were there. There was a couple, I even remember, like I remember all the people who were there because we were there as a group.
We've been to the ones with the larger artists.
Yes. So unaona na one thing na huku states, like huku ndo kule wanasema vishindo vya mashua havishtui bahari. So any mashua unatoka kule umetoka, but huku ni bahari. By the way, this place does not respect any
They
big
don't
name.
care.
Especially hii market yetu hapa DMV does not respect any big name. If you don't do the right marketing, if you don't do the right, you will have a very big name.
Yeah, DMV is bad.
And people will not show up. So that's one thing that you have to learn. So kama una come hivi, like I advise you, your first trip, make it a trip whereby like you're building your value. Hata kama you're not gonna make money out of it, because we've seen these complaints from promoters, and we know because we've physically been to some of those events, and then unaangalia hata kama watu wanalipa $50 per head kwa hii show, there is no way that they're gonna get enough money to be able to pay
ROI
pay these artists. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to come to Omosh to maybe talk a little bit about that, so that also Kenyan artists will understand. Because
this is a very important conversation, because we never, so, and that's why I was saying I think it's very important to have the converse, because you see, we know from our end, si tunajua mi nataka na mi, si kila msee anafikiria kama mimi, unajua mi naifikiria mi nataka kwenda kujenga jina huko, nataka kuona niaje na yani the most important thing for me ni kufika huko nionyeshe what I can do, but si kila msee anaona hivyo. So maybe ni important to get perspective, unasema kaya Omosh ku understand, like
Omosh,
how is it now on the ground?
You know, traditionally, vile umesema, you raised a very good point, and it's normally an issue na wasanii ambayo wako na band yao. You've been practicing with this band for a long time. They back you up, but logistically, or should I say financially, fiscally, it does not make sense to get all, I would say, if they are all key people, all 5 folks on a plane with their instruments to come stateside, yet you could have, like you said, your musical director come with you, and you have these bands that can, and meanwhile Mumushawa Tumia tracks, they are practicing, then when you guys come, you close you complete the deal. Almost Ali, this reminds me of Smithsonian.
Yes.
Remember when the Kenyan artists had come for Smithsonian, when you had people like Eric Wainaina playing with Atemi as his backup singer. Eric didn't have his band. So they practiced where they had actual artists who are on their own, but they are backing up the other person.
They're backing each other up.
Because things were tight.
Yeah.
And then there was almost like one band wanna share, almost like a Coke Studio does, where they have like a house band, and then everybody else comes and uses them. And so getting folks to understand that it's possible to still give the live experience, but come this side, and then you find a band, because wasani band members or guys who are here who play wako wengi. You have Lingala guys, you have Niger guys, they are wako wengi. Yes,
even high school bands.
They're here.
Even high school bands, yeah.
I mean, Samba Mapangala is based from here, and he has guys who even play with him. There are some guys who even came from Kenge Kenge who are around, So it's just a matter of fusing with these folks and understanding that there's no one who's going to spend, like $10,000 to $15,000 on tickets just to bring band members, and you have not broken even. You have not sold a show yet. So for Kenyans to understand that, or Kenyan artists to understand that, these are the things that people are dealing with when they traverse, when you come over with by plane, and then you come and you hit a place like DC, then someone has to market you. Someone has to sit down and say, okay, you know what, Charisma is coming. So I want to blast chaps with, but I can't walk around to the radio stations with Charisma's tracks and say, hey guys, by the way, here I have an artist who's coming and here are his tracks, because that's not the audience. But then it's not like there's a Kenyan radio station, so you have to figure out creative ways of reaching these folks and hitting them up prior to you hitting the ground. So and that's a large issue that we have. And with our promoters, normally it's like, okay, the promoter has his people, he sends the flyers out, he says this guy is coming, there's a video that's done, and then you assume that that's gonna work. Well, what about the people who don't have social media? What about the people who, some people actually literally need even a phone call? You pick the phone up and you tell them, by the way, I have a band that's coming, and this, and these guys are gonna be in Spidiako. Go get your babysitters now. In 3 weeks, this guy is landing. So those are like some of the things that promoters need to do. But back in the day, you didn't have social media. Now, if somebody uses WhatsApp, they use maybe IG, Facebook, and they say, okay, I've promoted.
Yeah.
We don't even see flyers. When's the last time you saw a flyer?
No, you don't see flyers. And those are the risky type of promotions where it could either be a boom or a bust.
Correct. And it also depends on who you have on your speed dial. Na kuna wale watu sema, you know what? I never even knew that this thing happened. Some folks come into town and they'll call me and say, at midnight, someone will send me a message and say, Omosh, what's happening tonight? I'm like, okay, I didn't even know you were in town.
Yeah. Then
I'm like, okay, well, what is your flavor? What do you feel like doing? Then they tell me I'm trying to do, say, okay, well, if you like Niger music, you can go here. If you want this, if you just want a club experience that gives you everything, go here. The venue is nice. It will be maybe pricey at the door. Drinks could be expensive, but you will enjoy yourself if you go to this place because it's a rooftop. It has this, it has that, So those are some of the intricate things that we deal with. And then Harper in this area, unlike a lot of areas, we're spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
Extremely spoiled for choice. Kuna mali unaweza enda hata kuna cover, unaingia tu kama umetembea na hata kuna band. Na kuna mali kabla uingie unachota 30 bob. Hata kabla kohoe na drink yenyewe ni 15 bob. So you've already spent 45 bob na namba ya demu hujapata. So, there are some things that are just the reality of today's market, and anybody who's going into it, whether it's artist or promoter, you kind of have to know. And then who is your DJ? And is this DJ of yours also a force to reckon with, a promoter themselves? or someone, or they have a following, ama ni mtu ambayo anacheza mziki na hajulikani.
Yeah.
So those things also matter with, you know, vile uliuliza ukasema ati okay, so show ikimalizika kuna DJ atacheza ama nani, you know, so also are you gonna get an act to open for you? So some of those things matter, but live bands, I always say I love live bands. Live bands always sell. Mika.
No, what I'm saying is tell you, almost what you finished up by saying is, the promoters also create value for the artist and for the show.
Correct.
Like when you bring in an artist into the country, you do not just bring an artist based on how they're performing in Kenya. You are supposed to. That is in Kenya is in big, but then you're supposed to understand that when you're bringing them here, you're transitioning here, you have to create a value to the audience over here to understand, so that they can see why is the value of them going to that show to watch that artist's perform. Why should I not take a shift that day and go out and watch that artist? So you have to create that value for them, and I think that is where most of the promoters over here fail, is in creating the value. Even if it's not an artist, even just for the regular shows that they're doing on a Saturday or on Friday with their DJs, is you don't create the value for that person, right? As Omosha said, there's a lot of choices. So if I know that if I go to Adams Morgan and I've spent my $100 in Adams Morgan, I'm finding more value than going to a club in Silver Spring. Even though driving to Adams Morgan is farther for me, but the value of Adams Morgan is what attracts me there. So I would rather pay that extra $20 on Uber to go there than go to Silver Spring, and I don't see any value of it because of the value. Like whoever is doing that party, what they are, the marketing well. So we also have to find a way in ourselves on how we are creating the value. As in, not to brag or anything, this show has hosted a lot of artists. We have artists who, when they come in this country, run to this show because they know, they themselves understand that I will not even not trust the promoter alone. Like I know the promoter's done his job, but then if I go over there and people know that I'm coming to perform, and I go over there, I create a value of my show.
No.
Right? And these are big name artists who are like, we have big name Tanzanian artists who run to this show whenever they come to the country because they know the value of, like, if I come and do this, we have Kenyan artists who, when they come here, they run to the show. But the thing is, simple is, the promoters have to come and do that. They have to come and start learning how to create the value of an artist or the value of their show. Just don't assume that people know me, my friends on Instagram and everything, and no.
Yeah.
You want to be like, this is the go-to event that I want to go. You want to what somebody thinks of. If somebody feels like I want to listen to reggae, and then get to Kagari and I end up. Simple as that.
Yeah, so to add on what Mika has said, Yani, I think for an artist like you, and actually to piggyback on what Mika said, we actually had Ali Kiba, who had not toured the US for so many years, such that when he was coming back, and remember Ali Kiba is a big name, these people touched all bases, you know, like his people contacted us well in advance, you know, and told us, man, kuna vile, and we're like, okay, sawa, mleteni Ali Kiba. So they were doing this all in advance. Like this was like, by the time when we got the first contact, it was like at least 2 months before he had landed in the US. You know, they were already preparing the lay of the land. And remember, this is Ali Kiba. He's a big name. But you make no assumptions. I'm in a business where, you know, like we are good at what we do. Now, this is outside music, but I asked the CEO of my company, what is it that keeps you awake at night? And he told me, I don't know what I thought he would have said, but he told me that it's a thought, and the company that I'm working in, we're doing like $30 to $40 million a year. He told me it's the thought of not being sure if we're going to sell a product tomorrow. And this is a product that we have orders in advance, but he tells me that because everything, even when we are selling, there are no assumptions that are being made. We are still going out to trade shows. We are still, like contacting our old clients. We are still searching for new markets. There's no assumptions. So for someone like you who's never been to the States, I think when you get an opportunity to come the first time, you need to have like at the bare minimum a 3-month plan. I don't see why you should come to the States and then leave after 2 weeks. I usually see that happen sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how those performance visas are done sometimes. But if you can stay, I tell you stay for 3 months. You need to know the lay of the land, and uempole, because there's some artists who are big at home. So anaanza kuongea mambo, I want to live in a 5-star hotel na nini. That now
and performances are weekends,
Yeah,
which means you
during the week
you only have 3 days or 2 days to perform.
Yes, you only have 3 or 2 days to perform, and then during the week you have to stay somewhere. So I tell people, be humble enough and have a plan. There are so many cities here where you have Kenyans. Learn the cities and then figure out where you're gonna be staying in each city. Unajua ukikuja DMV kuna Mika yuko hapa, kuna Ali. Ukienda Texas kuna mtu fulani namjua huko. So you need to have like an itinerary where you're not just an itinerary based on where you're going to be performing, but an itinerary where you're also going to these cities, getting to know the Kenyans, getting to know where they go, getting to understand the African clubs, getting to know the culture of these clubs. Because this is what, guess who was doing this not too long ago? Burna Boy.
Exactly.
Yes, Burna Boy was doing this. He was in Houston. He was in different cities, just living in friends' houses and going to random places, just learning and understanding. So I think with that you get higher value. And then when you get contact with these different promoters and these different DJs, and then I think another critical thing, if you partner with someone like, let's say, a DJ Shinsky or a DJ Sunny Sistuki, they already have crowds that follow them in the different cities they go. So now unaweza kudandia crowd because you're already a good musician. Once people know you, now they know Charisma. Yes, of course they know DJ Shinsky, but now they know who Charisma is. So that next time you're going there, they already know who Charisma is. So so this is something that that needs to be replanned and reassessed. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, and the great thing is we've had a lot of conversations about this actually. Hata hiyo akina DJ Shinsky tumehavizo hizo convo like who are the DJs who have like an audience in the States here. So how can we tap into them and I think I've had convos with some of them. So I'd like for you to have my music. What would it take for you to, even if it's discussions just even on a financial scale, like what is it I'm able to do? What can you do for me and things like that. And I think, so for me, the biggest thing, and I think it's a thing, and if you ask me, I can let you know, it's a thing I already accepted and I'm very willing to do already, is the compromise part, like just doing everything to make it work, because I think at this point in time, the thing about us is we do everything not to make it work. You understand?
Yeah.
So just doing everything to make it work, so that if, say, Omosh is the one I'm talking to and he wants to make sure Charisma is in the States, we've had discussions. So I'm a live band performer. He said live band performers do well there. However, we've already established that I have a band that has 5 people. It's impossible. I have a team that has 4 people. I can't, 10 people, flying in 10 people, won't make sense. So what can we do? So I have my MD, who's the most integral part of the music director, most integral part of the set. There's a lot of amazing instrumentalists in the state, far much better than what even we probably have here. We just go there, teach people our music. If I need someone from my team, we talk to them. If even to sweeten the deal sometimes, because it's convos we've had, and maybe I won't even mention the names, but and Mika knows, however, even packaging, just me and maybe another act, so that we create more value, So instead of just it being me, so let me give an example. So you say a Charisma and a Bensol, we've come, you've created more value, people, and you're still going with the same approach of being, of compromising and not being greedy about it and thinking long term. Because I think that's the most important thing. We're not thinking now. Whiskey, during that same time I told you guys met him, he was like, bro, we go to the States and don't make even half the money we make back home. But the thing is, we know once we crack that state code, that's it.
Yeah.
It's also, And now those guys are international acts, all of them. You know, Wizkid is recognized all over the world.
Everywhere,
Banabo is recognized all over the world. David all over the world, and it's because of those sacrifices. And if there's a time to sacrifice, it's now. So, and that's why I was telling you guys, I don't want to be 45 at Indio Nanza realize, God damn, I should sacrifice and go to the States.
We're not going to mention names.
But I'll say this. I mean, you know, the Rolling Stones are still touring even in their 70s.
No, but
I get what you're saying.
I get kind of tour is different.
But I was thinking on this also, like, you know, sometimes I think a good resource is somebody or people who have already done it before. And comes to mind Jabali Africa.
So I think people who've done it before, there's a mixed bag. There are some people who are very bitter, and it's a mixed bag. And I think part of the problem within the industry is that there's not enough sharing of information. You know, hata kama mimi nimeenda nimefail.
That's what I was mentioning.
Kama mimi nimeenda nimefail, I think it would add value if I go talk to the artist and mwambie, mazee mkienda huko, do this, this and that. Don't do this, this and that. I think there's not enough of sharing information because I don't know where the disconnect is, because there was a time when Kenyan artists used to come back to back. So right now we have LA7s coming up. With the dates are not out. They're not quite out there.
Right.
But the dates for LA7s are not out, so we don't know. I think Vancouver is out, but we are still waiting for it. So it's going to be either March or maybe late February. We don't know. But that's already a known. So I think now that we're approaching October, this would be the time to kind of start. I think the problem right now is that we don't have a specific date, but kind of tentatively just know that there will be this event and an artist will be performing, because Kenya already were huko. You know?
Yeah.
It's like they're already there. You know, like they're already there and they're motivated. You know, so it's not like ati unatafuta watu. LA is a weird place, you know, like for Kenyans. It's not like Vegas.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't have the flexibility.
It doesn't have the flexibility of Vegas, because Vegas, like hata kama ni mapromota watatu wanne, it's across the road, because they're all at the same place. Ukiboeka na huyu unavuka tu barabara unaenda next. But LA is a big city. One show could be 1 hour away. So when promoters start in fighting and split, then it becomes a problem. So those are just issues now that you have to learn along the way. But Sasa, I think LA would be a good place to come, not even necessarily even to perform, but just to get to meet people. To get to meet people and to understand. And then that could be the start of knowing kuna Minnesota, kuna DMV market, kuna Dallas. So now this is where you start. And these plans, kuna Atlanta, you start making these plans before you come. Not vile tumefika, ndo unaanza kuna plans.
Just so that we don't get lost about it. I think, as you said, the thing about the touring in Kenya is that, I mean, on both sides, people have been aggrieved. There's a lot of artists when wamekuja states wakachwa huko hawakulipwa vitu kama hizo. So I think tu ni pia kukuwa na industry yenye wase wote wana work diligently. As I said, honest and transparent. And just to correct something, when I said I don't want to tour at 45, I don't mean like it's wrong for me. I've not toured all my career. I'm only starting at 45. You see, the Rolling Stones only tour all their careers. Like they've toured all their careers, but it normally feels like Mkenya unawak ndo ufike 45 ndo utoke. Na sidhani hiyo ndo reality ya situation. Ni si tu tunakata kuifanya iwork. So I think from both sides, if we can find a middle ground and work together and just kukona compromise both sides, but kila mse akwe comfortable, ama kila mtu atoke na value, because at the end of the day value ndo important. Unajua?
Anyway, hiyo tutajua. Saa ndo tusisahau hii point, because tunataka kwenda hit or miss. Maandamano, we don't want to get lost.
Maandamano.
Yes, maandamano. You are part of easy maandamano. You know, this has been a very difficult year for Kenyans. It's been difficult for us who are far away, so I can only imagine how emotionally distressing whatever was happening in Kenya was for you guys who are out there. And especially like some of you wasanii mkajitokeza and you showed your faces out there in an environment where people were being abducted, people were being disappeared, people were being killed. So just take us, you know, because unajua it's been quite a traumatic period and it passed so fast that people don't realize how traumatic this was. Just tell us about your experience being there. You know, you're a musician, you're busy making music. Then there's this thing happening in Kenya that's unprecedented. You know, protests like we've never seen before. You know, watu wanamka wanarudi tao, maandamano. Talk to us from your point of view, from your perspective. What was there and what you did during the protests?
So our lives came to a standstill, to be honest. For a long period of time, nikaa tu kwa tunaishi. Ilikuwa tu maandamano, ilikuwa tuko kwa streets every single day. And for issues that affected every Kenyan. It was not political, it was people, it was a people-based situation in any issue, you know. And so me being on the streets was, you see, I mean, people talk about, oh, when msanii ulikuwa kwa street ulifanya poa, but I was telling guys, I'm suffering like everyone. The landscape in Kenya is bad for everyone. It's not just bad for you guys, it's bad for artists, it's bad for everyone. So all of us were just fighting for our rights, for the things that we believe in, for a fair country, you know. And for the money that we contribute to be used in the right way also. It was a difficult time. So being on the road, so I want to be honest, like most of us or most of the people who are on the road are people who've never even been at protests. So that's also a new experience. Like unajieka kwa a field that you've never even experienced. You don't even know how it is. I remember the first day. So I went for the very first. Actually, nilienda tu maandamano zote, if I'm honest. The first one was wild because that's the first time I'd ever been in a place where nilikuwa tear gas. Unajua kawaida mimi upata tear gas ile yenye residue iliangushwa mahali
Ikaisha.
Alafu mimi napita hapo baadaye naisikia. Ama inapigwa sasa hii ilikuwa inatupwa kwangu, yani sisi ndo tunatupiwa tear gas. And I remember, so the first day we were not a lot of people. Bro, music anga kwa TV wakisema running battles nili experience. So the first one wasn't many, you know, the numbers kept growing, yeah. So it felt like the ratio of people to police was 1-to-1. My guy, tulikuwa tunafinyiwa kwa machuo mtao. Tear gas inarushwa kutoka east side ya left na side ya right, mko katikati. Mimi nawaambia nilikuwa nalia na kohoa, niko huko manze, napiga manduru, tunakimbia, wasichana wanaanguka chini. That first day was a mess and they arrested so many people. So I remember I even got arrested twice that first day. Ya kwanza watu wakanisaidia, wakapiga kelele karawa, wakaniachilia juu panic, juu alikuwa solo. Ya pili manze nilienda kwa Mariamu. Na manze it was so funny because it was on the TV. Like unajua ile time tu wasa news wameamua kufocus on msana anashikwa. Nilienda kwa Mariamu. Nikapiga mkono yote jamaa, nikakimbia na sikuangalia nyuma tena. So my mom is calling me. Yeah, nakuona kwa TV ukishikwa. You know, you can imagine.
Wow.
So it was so wild. But what happened is, because of the guys who came up the first day, I think a lot of people got the psych to come out, you know. So I remember that the first one was on a Tuesday. That Thursday, man, we were so many. I'm telling you, tao ilikuwa imejaa, ilikuwa inakani kama tunaenda concert. Wase walikuwa wamejaa manze, yeah. And then just, you know, the Kenyan government, the Kenyan police, what happened after that is where all the problems came, yeah. Vile walianza kuchapa wase. When the first person was shot, I remember. That day,
Rex Masai.
yes. When Rex was shot, that day I remember tulikuwa tumetoka. I left town, I think, around 30 minutes before that incident happened. Now, on my way home, see, I'm driving, niko na brother wangu kwa gari na mabiste zangu wenye tumekam now. And I remember someone called me and told me, bro, they've shot someone is dead. I went to Twitter and now started seeing the conversations, yeah. So we get home and I'm seeing the conversation, and I told my brother, this is now, this thing that they've done, this is where this thing is going to start haribikaing. because people are, when you're in a peaceful protest, assume we're here early and we're having a convoy and we're not agreeing, sawa,
Yeah.
lakini urushe ngumi ya kwanza.
Yeah.
More often than not, pia mimi ndarusha ngumi.
Of course, yeah.
Ndajidefend.
Yeah.
And I told my bro, stuff itakuwa mbaya, itashindwa kuwa peaceful. And I remember the next Tuesday we went out and I did, like, I remember early on, I really tried. I kept on telling guys, msirushe maya, because guys would shika stones and I'm going to tell them, please, remember what our goal is, to rushe mamaya, to do even na hivi. But then, I think a couple other people were killed again that morning. And now people were just angry. Mpaka nakumbuka kuna boy fulani nilimwambia yake mawe chini. Kaniambia unaniambia nike mawe chini na wanatua nitakupiga nayo. I said, oh.
What?
Sorry bro. Like guys became angry. And that day for parliament, oh guys, may I saw it here firsthand with my eyes.
June 25th. Yeah.
Wase walikuwa na hasira. Like people were angry. You've killed our brothers. I'm telling you, there was no fear. Unajua, nakumbuka the first couple of days tulikuwa tunasikia gunshots tunatoroka, because mimi acha niambie, mimi mpaka sikuwa, unajua, si kama states vile nyewe sasa wanga na magun, mnajua vile guns zinalia. Mimi sikuwa najua tofauti ya gun na tear gas vile zinalianga. Mpaka ikafika point sasa najua hiyo ni tear gas. Hizo sasa ni bullet. Juu unajua hiyo tear gas inalia kama bomb manze. Nilikuwa nadhani hiyo ndo gun, una get. Bro, I'm telling you, it was so crazy. I even crammed what tear gas you can return. Kuna ile tear gas iko na yellow na blue. Hiyo ukishika ina burst hadi kwa mkono. Una get. Tuli learn so many things. But I remember now that day people were not even fearing. Like tulikuwa tunasikia actual live bullet, people just keep marching forward kuingia parliament. And initially the goal was, because I remember when we had a gender-based violence march this year. And the goal was also to reach parliament, to let our voices be heard. And it was, we went and stood outside parliament for a long time. A lot of people sang and they heard us, but you know, and that was the goal even with this one. But people got angry. I'm telling you, people broke things. Niliona mafence zikibomolewa nini, watu waliingia ile parliament wanatoka na microwave. Kuna mzee alitoka hadi na sufuria imejaa mchele manzi. Wakenya ni wase wa wild. Alafu wengine wanatoka na makuku. Unajua zile kuku kama za Sanford, zile pono tu.
Kile kuku pono.
No, ametoka nayo mzima anafanya hivi. Hey. Yeah, so that day was wild. Now, that night, I think the president alikuwa amefika hiyo point ya.
Yeah.
These kids, you know. So he said this thing for
Treasonous criminals.
Yeah. What?
Magaidi.
Mind you, just before this, there's a couple of people that had been hanging around this house, my place, 2 days. For like 2 days. So the kwanza walikam na Prado fulani, alafu nilikuwa kwa my balcony. So I was just like, I was at the balcony and I saw them. And now walikuwa na walkie-talkie. Hey, bro, nikatoroka nikaenda kwa neighbor. Wakakaa wakasimama hapo kwa hii my outside my door, just surveying. Even my watchman is like, hey, kuna wase wako hapa kwako. Na inakaa very weird. And then they came, after the treasonous criminals thing, I remember my folks even called me. They were like, hey, wewe tunafeel unafaa utoke manze, vitu zako zikae poa. Then immediately after that call, there's a friend of mine who was a friend uko KD in the army KDF. Alinipigia akaniambia nimepigiwa na umse, sister jina yake of course, nimepigiwa na umse, wananiambia jina yako iko kwa list ya sawa, natafuta una need kutoroka. This guy knows me as Charisma. Yeah, he doesn't know my real name, but he asked my friend, umse ni best yako anaitwa Fidel Shama. Mwambia atoke huku. Nikasema watu wangu, nakumbuka hiyo siku, that same night tulienda nika withdraw just enough money. Nilikuwa kwa stage ya easy coach, nilisema hata si drive, stage ya easy coach nikapotea. Nakumbuka that morning, so they came, my watchman called me again, kuna watu wanagonga kwa mlango yako, sijui nini. Namwambia mimi ni sawa, wacha wagonge, wakitaka wabomoe waingie, mimi siko. Yeah, and even so I have a dog guys I live with. Hata niliambia bro wangu akachukua akaishia nazo. Yeah, so my house was like that. And I wasn't in my house for a long time, for a very long time. Tulikuwa tunatafutwa. And so the situation was crazy. And I think, I was saying, I believe Ruto tu ni army ilikata kumsaidia, but I'm sure he wanted to go full throttle and they were like, no, we're not going to do this. But it was tough. So hata mimi niendelea tu na maandamano Kakamega manzi. Nilitorokea huko, but sasa ikabidi nikuwe kwa maandamano but huko nyuma. Nisipige kelele pia. Sasa nikikuwa pasona na natafutwa mpaka Kakamega jamani. I'm telling you, it was a very traumatic time. There's a time nikiwa tu wacha tu shags natembea, niliona gari ya polisi imesimama karibu na gate ya kwetu. And kusema kweli walikuwa tu shughuli yao. Lakini acha niwaambie, nilikaza boxer kwa kama thong mzee.
Tumbo joto.
Nilisema wamenikujia mpaka huku yani. Yeah, it was very traumatic. And we were fighting for things that we believed in, and especially I honestly, as an artist or someone in the public eye, it was very risky because you're very present in those demonstrations. You're posting about it, you're very vocal about it. And I remember I put out a video just the day before Parliament, nikisema people should not forget what the goal is. Our goal is to occupy Parliament. Tuache kwenda huko tao kuimbia mbali, tunaingia Parliament, hiyo ndio kitu ya maana. So unajua yangu ingekuwa turned easily as mini instigator, mimi nilichocha watu waingia wabomo hiyo place. Unaget? Yeah, so it wasn't easy. Hata kurudi Nairobi nakumbuka time nilirudi nilishindwa kukaa kwangu. Nilienda nikakaa kwa msee for a while. Yeah, and that period, there's a lot of things I've learned from that period. I think we did something great, but also there's a lot of lessons from it. I think we could have planned more or thought about this thing more, and maybe we could have had a better outcome. For example, and it's not regrets. There's things I think about, like the whole leaderless thing. I'm like, yeah, that was great when we did it, but now it came to a point where I was like, okay, we need our issues articulated. What do we do? There's no leaders, and even when we say something like Ruto must go, so assuming Ruto goes, Gachagua becomes president. Do we have people where we're thinking of we can prop up to that level? So yeah, those are just some of the things I felt, and it was very sad. I think it was draining. We got injured. Mimi nilipigwa na tear gas mpaka nikaizoea. Maji ya makanon nilizoea. Yani, and then people got killed. Yeah, people dying, man, was not. I mean, you always kind of know with things like this, with revolution, this could happen, but it just wasn't great. Like, it wasn't a great thing to see. Nearly to drain, what a very emotionally, physically, and mentally. But yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you know the interesting thing is that huku, like that was around the time that Trump was being assassinated. So from your time ya maandamano, like we were not watching American news. Yeah, attempted assassination I meant. We were not watching American news. Like ilikuwa ni 24/7, like nikienda kazini, si kazini tuko allowed kusikiza. So nikienda kazini, like the first thing in the morning, even before niende kazini, even when I'm waking up, I'm already trying to see Spice wanasema nini, Citizen wanasema nini, KTN.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
So the whole day. And then kuna ma-X spaces. Hizo ma-X spaces were running like 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Those things, we were on them the whole time. So I think for a period of,
and then
like,
we had sporting events. What sporting events were there?
There was Euro.
There was Euro.
No one was watching Euro.
By the way, I don't think
we went Euro
Kenya
into Olympics,
Euro.
into Sijui Nini.
Olympics,
and we never slept. Did
No.
we sleep?
No,
I don't think we were sleeping,
there was
because
no
at some
sleeping.
point we were trying to work.
Yeah.
But we were keeping up with what was
But
happening.
we were keeping up day
Kenya.
to day.
We were not working.
Day ilikuwa day.
We said trying.
Yeah, ilikuwa.
Mimi Tuesdays na Thursdays sikuwa nafanya job. Nilikuwa nashinda, I used to work in the evening. Nilikuwa nashinda YouTube kuangalia maandamano yanaenda.
Yeah, I know.
Because at that time it was I had a lot of people who are in who are cared for, who are going, especially when it was that time when it was just the Gen Z's thing, who are going to demonstrate. Alafu, I think after that now, you saw when the government started responding, and you were seeing how things were going back. And it was just becoming heart-wrenching and heart-wrenching. Like you're saying, oh man, so they're just going to politically maneuver these kids because the kids were going for this and this. And you could see the destiny as it was coming in. So for me, I think, say, time imeisha. So I just want to say, like, last week we hosted Morara Kimboso on this show. And I remember Morara he called out Kenyan artists. And he called out Kenyan artists and told them that the mood of the country right now is not
feel good music.
Into feel good. They're into a revolutionary mode. And he was asking Kenyan artists to get into that bandwagon and continue and produce art that depicts what's going on in the country, the mood of the country, depicts the current situation of the country, basically revolutionary art. So what's your thought on that? Do you think that it's something that Kenyan artists should jump on and get to it, or do you think that that was too much to ask from the artists?
This question for me is really difficult because it's like, I think it really depends on your convictions, you know, and that's really been my message this whole time. Because I remember during maandamano nilikuwa kuna video nilipost kama mnaweza enda kucheki kwa page yangu when I told people to focus on the mission at hand. I was telling guys, man, there's a lot of artists who came, not just artists, public figures who came kwa maandamano kuonekana. And I was like, you'd rather not come, because a lot of them derailed the movement. Walikuwa wanakamuka kupiga maselfie na watu. So unapata kuna crowd ya watu wengi wamesimama Koinange Street na tunawanid hapo parliament. Unaget? So tumeluzwa wase wengi juu kuna watu ni bandwagon unaget? Na mimi na believe lazima uko na amini hiki kitu na unataka kuidu ndio uifanye. Otherwise kama unaifanya tu ndio uonekane. Yeah, and I think that's the problem with saying artists should just do it, because there's a lot of people who just do it to
be seen,
to benefit from it, and not necessarily because they even care about it, you know. But yeah, I do believe artists have an obligation to be the voice for the people. I don't think it's a must, but I think it's a great thing to be able to do, to speak to the people, to be a voice for the people, to have songs that will remind us of these struggles that we've had and everything. And I'll be honest, there's like a fine line between. So now, for example, it's different for me personally. I've been thinking about it. I'm like, damn. Now, I've been working on this album for a little over a year. I've put it out, and now this is the situation we're in. How do I go about this? Because I need to promote album yangu, but pia kuna hii stuff ina happen. Album ni investment, ni biashara pia, haiwezi enda tu ni pesa tumeweka, ni biz. Unajua vile tumesema music business ni biz.
Yeah.
But pia kuna hii kitu ina happen sahi. So how do I navigate through this thing? So me, I'm thinking things here about love. And it's not things I wrote a month ago, 2 months ago. It's things I've been writing for over a year and put them out. So where's the middle ground? How do I find myself in this? How do I market my music and don't look like I've cast a blind eye on this movement, or I don't care about it, you know? But I think it's important for artists to be an instrument. However, there's those conflicts, and I know there's a lot of creatives in that space where and my boy was saying, I was talking to an artist friend, and they were saying it's very difficult for us as artists, because you see, for me, my job has to continue. I'm in the business of music, so I have to continue working, yeah, and I'm pushing my stuff forward. So this is happening there, but I'm just like everyone else. The difference is my work is posted on social media. So in a car, na mtu anaweza sema mimi ni tone deaf, but mimi nikatu yeye pia anaendelea kwenda ofisi the same way, bado anaongelea vitu zina happen, but sasa mimi siwezi do hivyo kwa sababu inakaa kama sijali. So I think there's a lot of people who are caught in between because they don't know how to go about it, to go about their work still, but still be an instrument or a voice for this. But I do think it's important for us to be a voice for the people, because pia mimi niko naambia say I think Omosh na Nika wako kwa hiyo group nilizua siku ingine, naambia watu siamini ni wasanii mnakujanga hapa mkidia daily play KE music, alafu ile siku wa Kenya wana need kuongelea mmenyamaza nyi wote, na baadaye unza kila Mika walilengelea story wote.
That is true.
Wote.
Yo,
That is true.
Yeah. No, lakini your explanation yako is very good. You know, like it counterbalances what Morara was saying, you know, because now we're getting the perspective also from
an artist.
From
somebody in the
as well as an
Yeah.
activist.
Yes, and of course, like myself, I'd not thought about it that way, that hii mziki imepikwa karibu mwaka mzima. You know, it's not something that you just created overnight and you're releasing it. Ni kitu imepikwa kama mwaka mzima. So I think, you know, like, to me, the best middle ground, we're in that civic education environment. And I think, just as Morara says, whatever field you're in, whether you're doing the one mic show, or whether you're an artist. Ona kama wewe sasa, wewe for example, wewe kwanza wewe you're a lawyer, and you're also an artist, so there's so much civic education that is also needed within that space of artists. Wacha hata kwenda hata kwa watu wa villages na nini, even within artists there's so much civic education that they need, whereby they don't understand how what's happening is affecting your work as an artist, how much money you're gonna make as an artist. Wengi hawaelewi, and I think by trying to simplify that stuff is when people will be very motivated. Oh my goodness, I did not know that kukiwa na hii issue hapa inamaanisha that's a reason why, you know, like these CMOs are not paying us like they're supposed to pay us. So I think that's what Morara was talking about. But I think, you know, like this is a very good counterbalance to also understand that mziki pia ni kama tu kazi ya ofisi. You know, like other people were going to maandamano na bado walikuwa wanaendelea na kazi zao.
Because what was interesting was when he said what he said, it made me think. Let me see over the last, from when the maandamano started, that was in June, July, August. I'm like thinking, who has come out with any song or a song that you can say is towards the movement, you know, towards the struggle, and you know, Nonini comes to mind. And then I'm thinking, there was Bien, Tiomio, Tiomio.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking,
there's a bunch of people,
But you see, like, I haven't. Those are the Tiomio nilisikiza yake jana, Occupy.
Yeah.
Of course, Nonini, we played his track here.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't say that even with Bien, I can't say nimesikiza nimepata, you know. But
then, you know, one thing, Uno, that I also like to tell people is that the songs that are revolutionary are not hits; they're classics.
Yeah.
No, agreed. That's what
Most of them are never hits. They are songs that the more that you listen to them, the more they resonate. They're songs that don't get old, right? These are songs that they're not going to top the charts.
Nope.
But they're always going to be songs that you'll go back to and you're listening to. You're going to say, I think the only person who actually did revolutionary songs that became hits was Bob Marley.
Bob.
Yeah.
He is the only person that you can say that has actually that, because everybody else who has tried revolutionary songs, they've always been classics. Bob was the only one who produced hits with revolutionary songs. So that is another thing. I think that's another, how can I say it? That's another olive branch to do to extend the artist. It's like that. You depending on the art, the traction might not be as fast as you want to, because even if you had during Maandamano, the songs that were themes of Maandamano were not Maandamano songs.
They were not Maandamano songs like
feel good songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were feel good songs, right? Because people wanted to, like, despite all this, you know, human beings like dopamine. We like happy feelings. Right? Utakagi kitu inakukumbusha stress. Wewe utaka kitu inakusahaulisha stress. That is why we do drugs. That is why we drink. That is why we addicted to sex. That is why we love romance. That is why we like expensive things. Like we look for dopamine. We look for things that social media. That is why we like things we can clown, things we can laugh. Like we look for dopamine. We don't like things that remind us of our reality. Like we like things that make us forget about reality. But then once in a while, if you have that something that keeps your fire burning, that reminds you not to forget yourself, Palumatoka, what you're suffering through, what you're going through. That is what you need, and that is where the artists come from. So,
on that point, I like Mika's point, but for example, I like what you said, like hata huku Joyongo Maya Bien, for example. So, unaona hiyo time Bien anatoa hiyo song, Mike Bien pia alikuwa na nini? Ana push album yake. Una get? So again, what I said, you've worked on an album is an expensive thing, you know. It's a whole ass investment. It's very difficult to tell an artist also. And I'm saying this as someone who's even now still very active with what's happening. It's very difficult to tell an artist who's invested millions into a project, weka hiyo to the side. Tunataka hii ingine. When I get
100%.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, and
so
that's
what I was gonna say is, it's you know, you do hear that, but then again, everybody in their own space can do something effective, you know.
Yes.
So like now, Charisma does not necessarily have to tomo a song, but he's been active. He was active. Uko ameenda kujificha. But it's not, you know, so it's out there, you know, it's there and it's known, you know. Amekemea wasanii wenzake, because yes, we do know there's some people who they started coming out after wamesalimiwa.
Yeah.
No, kuna watu wale na maandamano na mabouncer.
So
wanapiga selfie na wakatoka.
Yeah,
na wamesalimiwa. So
yeah.
you know, they're forever tainted because of that. And then there are other guys who have done that. But you're right, you know, Ali, you know, it's good to give you know, like musicians grace, because again, in their own time and in their own way, you know, or like Mika said, you know, it's not going to be a hit.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a classic.
But the one thing that artists occupy, and that sometimes I think artists don't understand this, because sometimes artists also like divorcing themselves from the fact that, it's not our responsibility to do this. What sometimes artists don't realize is that they have a very big influence on the society. They have an influence.
Huge.
Yes, very big influence. Kids will see them and they will copy what they're doing.
100%.
They have an influence that even leaders do not have. This is the reason why do you think during elections, why do you think politicians like using music and artists during elections? Have you ever stopped to wonder why? And this is what I want artists to understand.
Spangwingwi.
And people, and sometimes artists tend to get misused during this period.
100%.
So I think artists like Sauti Sol understood, and that's the reason why they had a pushback when their song was used by Azimio during the last campaigns without proper permission.
Yeah, because they understood what impact that could have.
Yes, they understand what impact that song can have. You see, you remember like those songs these songs that were being done, Tazijui Tano Tena. These things have an impact on the society. So I think, unfortunately, artists, they happen to be in this space where it wasn't their plan to be there, but unfortunately, they're already there. They're influencing. So that's where they need to be. They need to figure out a way, because the influence is already there in moments like this, because these are unprecedented moments. These are historical moments. In moments like this, I would advise utafakari tu kidogo and try to figure out. Of course, I can't change a song. I can't change a project that I'm already putting out. But what is it that I can do, even if it's outside the music, to use my influence to positively impact, even if it's in a small way, to impact something. So be it the civic education part,
Yeah.
be it the part where you can show support to people who are already out there in the forefront doing it, even endorsing an idea, even as an artist going out and endorsing an idea, unasema I like what Kasamuel is doing, I like what Morara is doing, or I like what Masitarus is doing. That in itself has an influence and has an impact that Charisma ameendorse your idea. I think I'm also gonna take a look at it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I've really been keen on. Like, not even just I think it's just who I am, and it's something I've always been into. So mi nimekuwa hizi vitu zote, unajua ni jutu hii imekuwa a big deal, ndo maana watu wameona sana. But me too nimsewa hizo. So I'll have stories on any posts on my stories about everything that's going on. Tell people about things that are happening, update guys, and big up people who are doing certain things. For example, there's a guy called Willie Oeba, who's, I don't know if you guys have seen him on Twitter, amazing poet who goes matatus every day.
Yes.
Anaongelesha tu wasi, na una make sure tu na repost your story, ukimpea kasaik. Saa zingine, hata nilikuwa namuuliza, how can I help you, what can we collab doing? Maybe you'd need more hands on deck to do certain things, you know. Just things like that, because there's so many ways to catch a mouse. You know, see, at the end of the day, as long as you get to the end goal, you understand.
Okay.
And I think that's the point. And maybe in a larger kind of way, that's what Morara was saying. Involve yourselves.
Okay. Aya, sasa as Omosh is gonna start getting ready kwenda kufanya hit or miss na couple of songs, maybe tuambie, you know, like where you're seeing yourself maybe in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, just in a brief summary. Tell us where you're seeing yourself as we wrap up.
So me personally, niko tu kazi manze, like just grinding, and where I'd like to see myself in the next, in the near future is representing Kenya on the global stage. Doing massive things for this country in terms of exporting our culture, our music, and Kenya just as a country. Yeah, so I really just want to be an ambassador for this country in the way that I can. I want to fill stadiums. That's my goal. I want to fill stadiums. I want to do Bukongo Stadium, Kakamega. I want to do the O2s. I want to come to MSG. Like, isn't the goals? I've already seen my fellow Africans do these things, and I know it's possible. I know there's different ways we can work towards achieving this kind of goal. So those are the things I'm hoping I'm able to do in the long term. And also to just be, to open up doors for other people, if I'm able to. Open up doors for other people and hopefully mentor other guys coming up in this field. Because that's one of the areas where I really struggled. There was not a lot of people, or rather, I didn't have people to guide me and tell me, this is where we can go, this is what we can do. So just also to be a mentor for people coming up in the industry. Yeah.
Okay. Hauna plan za kuwa MCA huko Kakamega ama kitu kama hiyo hapo? Ama kuingia siasa? Unajua siku hizi watu wakitaka kuomoka, unaanza kuingia siasa, unaform ka NGO, unasema nimesaidia villagers hapa na kwa hivyo mnipatie
nimewaletea blanketi na mbuzi.
Yeah, but
I mean, to be fair, to be honest, in my mind right now, I don't think of myself. When I was in law school, it's something I really wanted. Squeezy manze is not. Kwanza nachukia tu politics squeezy. Like me for the politics, but I just hate Kenyan politics and what it does to people.
Join the club.
Even like I've seen great people become juyaja. Alafu nilisoma mtu akisema activists should remain activists and should never go for those political positions. So waja niko tu mimi ni mtu wa kula tear gas.
Yeah, but you know, also with what Morara said is that we've let, you know, like the bad people run our politics, and that's the reason why we are where we are. Because uko bunge utakuta wauaji, utakuta watu ambao wako kwa
usiseme bunge, sema president wetu.
I know, I agree with unataka tukuje, unajua yuko US anakuja New York, unataka kuja tutafute hapa kwa studio?
Akuje.
Unajua by the way tunafaa kwenda kuoccupy huko yeye.
By the way, that's something we're thinking about. We're thinking because tumekuwa tukioccupy hapa ma embassy, tumeoccupy IMF. Yeah, so now tunataka kwenda kuoccupy huko yeye. Unajua uzuri hapa hakuna any anaweza tufanyia.
Na mtapigwa na tear gas na makanon.
By the way, huku maandamano ya huku tunapata protection ya Secret Service. You know,
nice.
That's something very interesting because mimi sikuwa najua ukienda kuandamana DC inside the city limits, Secret Service has to, especially certain parts of the city limits where embassies ziko, there's a certain area where there are a lot of embassies. Huko sasa it's a territory protected by the Secret Service. Sama zesi
represent hapo bana.
Yeah, sasa itakuwa poa ukikam tutakuingiza moja hizi maandamano zetu huku. Maandamano za huku maandamano za huku ziko interesting sana. In fact, polisi wanakuja wanauliza ni aje mko poa, you know, kama mko na issue yoyote, si tuko tu hapo kando, nyi malizeni kazi yenu and then muishie. And I'm hoping Kenya will get there one day. You know, like where...
Because I mean, constitutionally, that's what is meant to happen. Wanafanya watu chunge.
Yeah.
Wataenda wanatapa.
Okay. Aya, sawa. I know we've not done this in a long time, but I think tumefika ile point sasa tunaenda kwa hit or miss segment. And I don't know, sasa hapa tamwachia DJ because watu leo ni kama sijui wamelala ama ni nini. Yeah, kuna manyimbo kadhaa hapa zimechaguliwa. But we let the DJ make a selection.
Let me try and drop this. I haven't dropped this in a long time. One moment, let me see.
Mosh in the mix on the One Mic Show. Mosh in the mix on the One Mic Show.
Jamaa kutoka kule Brown vile pale abscond cast.
Aya, tusisahau Johari because I think Washeke was supposed to do something and let us know, but we can just sing for Johari.
We're supposed to wish happy birthday.
Wish happy birthday.
Yeah.
Aya,
sasa na hiyo song amesema nataka happy birthday, amesema sherehe, amesema hapo.
Let you know.
Yeah.
Alikuwa anataka kucheza let you know.
Alikuwa anataka ni let you know.
Let you know na wivu.
Okay. Haya.
Let you know wivu, alafu Mika ameangusha itakwata love me.
Of course, Mika. So tumwambie happy birthday kwanza.
Tumwambie happy birthday.
Tumwambie happy birthday ama tucheze ngoma kwanza.
Happy birthday kwanza. Because she's, you know, before, you know, maybe she's tired.
Amekuja.
Tumeona mama yake iko hapa.
No, washeke confirm kwanza kama amekuja before tuimbe happy birthday because hataki kuimba happy birthday na yuko hapa. Yeah, so maybe wacha tucheze ngoma ya kwanza alafu tukiconfirm amefika,
but kuna recording.
Tutaimba happy birthday. Hapana, hiki inataka
live and direct.
Hakuna mambo ya recording.
Haya, gadhe Omosh. Togende.
Come here, mama. Let me pin you down, make you my canvas. I'll be your soldier. You're my general, give me your orders. Girl, 'cause you're my favorite drug, the only one that I require. My desires are so wild, light this shit on fire, and I wouldn't change it. Vile wanifanya mina kutamani kwa sana.
And we can do this here all the night, or we can do it tough love for life. Baby, it's whatever you like. Love me good, yeah, love me right. Steady dancing into the night. Enough your papa, Sunday midnight. Baby, it's whatever you like. Love me good, yeah, love me right.
Love me good and love me right. My angel in disguise, sent from heaven just to give my broken heart another chance. weni malaika wangu. Every single time you are away, my heart forgets just how to be. And maybe I should let you know, even if the earth should fly away, I'd find a way to you. Maybe I should let you know, every single night I ask the Lord to keep you safe for me. The moonlight in the dark, shining brighter than the brightest star will ever see. Malaika nakupenda, na kila saa you're far away, my heart forgets just how to be. And maybe I should let you know, that even if the earth should fly away, I'd find a way. And maybe I should let you know, yeah. Every single night I ask the Lord to keep you safe for me.
All right.
Anazicheza back to back to back.
Back to back, omosha maniaje.
I guess.
And that's how hidden.
I think it's very rusty.
Oh, okay. So hizo ni ngoma ngapi zimechezwa sasa?
Amecheza ngoma mbili.
Ngoma mbili.
Tatu.
Ngoma tatu ya.
Mbili.
Okay, ni ngoma mbili.
This one was supposed to be the third one, but I think tumemkanyangia breaks.
Okay.
Karibu anguke nazo zote.
Okay. So
Jagavi.
So Mbika, tuanze na wewe. Hizo ngoma umezisikiaje?
Huyu jamaa kwanza ilikuwa hit and miss ama alikuwa anacheza mix?
I mean, I think ajaingia booth siku nyingi, but ni sawa.
Let's excuse him.
The first one, for me, that one will always be a hit. The composition, the story behind it, the chemistry between the two artists, mimi hiyo kwangu inakuanga hit. I don't even have to ask about it. The second one, for me, that will be a hiss. It's there. It's hissing. Yeah. So hapo hiyo inapatia ka 6 hivi. But the first one, yeah, that one I'm giving it a high of 9.
Okay. Yes.
Love me.
Let me pin you down, make you my canvas. Okay. I like that. You inaweza kuinterpreted in so many ways.
Paint you with that. What did you call it in Kiswahili?
Nini yo?
Biriganya.
Hapana, biringanya si ya kupaint. Yeah.
Lakini una paint na hiyo.
Hapana, hapo sasa umeharibu ngoma sana. Hiyo interpretation yako, hiyo imekataa hiyo hapo. Yeah, but
Lakini bro, unaweza interpret hivyo kwa nyumbani.
But ngoma
ni kwa sababu kuna nani?
Yeah.
Kuna mode anafikiri tandi.
Yeah,
that's
but
why I'm monitoring.
Yeah, I know ingoma imekubali, you know, like especially hiyo the two artists yani wamekubaliana tu. Yani it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Imeshikana tu. And then of course, you know, like I'm big on poetry. This is a song that I need to go back and listen and even write the poems and then unleash them. Like I'm the one who thought about them on someone. But I like the beat, and then I like the speed. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. It's at a, I would call it a perfect speed. I would call it a perfect speed. Yani iko in a move, but it's not moving too fast, and it's unique. You know, it's that kind of music, you know, like when people are asking, oh, you know, mziki ya Kenya iko wapi? This is the kind of music that people need to be listening.
Unampatia sample ya hii.
Unampatia na hii hapa, kama unasikiza na mtu wako, hata kama mlikuwa mmekosana, No, you know, mnasikizana, anakubali.
Una throw hints.
Hata kama ulikuwa umeenda kazi ya usiku, ulikuwa umeenda maandamano ya usiku. Yeah, anakubali tu, anajua umedanganya, but anakubali tu ni sawa.
No, ulikuwa studio na produce.
Yeah, ama ulikuwa studio na produce.
Na produce wimbo.
Yeah, anakubali ni sawa tu. Na hapo watu wameikubali. Washeke ameikubali. Ametoa 5 stars, juu ama hizo ni 5
bombs.
They even more than 5.
Spark
Luis Muya amekubali, anasema first one amepatia so many stars, ni more than 5. Second one amepatia
5 stars.
Yeah, amepatia stars
kidogo. Umeona pale Grizzly amesema that's a hit. Beats on point. That's the first one.
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah,
it's on point like a decimal, by the way. Both.
Yeah, Omosha alituchanganya leo, akacheza sijui ngoma ngapi hapo, but maybe you can play the second one, maybe to scare a second.
Before you play the second one.
Yeah, before the second one.
Johari is here.
Johari, yeah. And what is it? It's her?
It's a birthday.
It's a birthday. Yeah.
Haya, Charisma.
Yo.
Mwenye kuimbiwa amemwok. Amemwok. Cheza kama wewe. Anguka nayo.
Happy birthday to Johari.
Kaende.
Yeah, twende
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Johari. Happy birthday to you.
Hiyo imekubali, hiyo hapo, hiyo imekubali.
This is the guy who was told who doubted himself the first time he sang in church.
Yes.
Bwana asifiwe.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
Haya.
Sasa situimbe ile yetu.
Happy birthday dear Johari.
Happy
birthday dear Johari. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday dear Johari. May you have many more.
May you
have many more. May you have many. May you have many more. May you have many more. Charisma, if you want BGVs tuko area ka bacteria.
Sasa Mama Johari, mwambie Johari ya rate kama hii yetu imechapa ile ya Charisma. Because I'm suspecting hii yetu it's better. It's better by like
9.5.
By like 30%.
Yeah, by 9.5.
Yeah, so Mama Johari, hebu muulize Johari.
We are injecting.
I'm suspecting, yeah.
We are injecting.
Inject kabisa. Yeah.
Mumeimba mpaka JJ akaamka.
Alikuwa anafaa kuwa Chebukati wetu na alikuwa missing leo.
Mimi nadhani alikuwa ameenda date na Slay. Unaona umepotea watu wawili.
Because Slay pia amepotea. Amepotea leo. But ni sawa. And then Luis Muya hapa anauliza question, do you believe everyone has the ability to sing with good coaching? I think I can answer you. I will let Charisma answer, but I think I can answer you. And the answer is no. But wacha Charisma.
Alafu najua hapo tumelimwa ni Washeke, but ni sawa.
Washeke amesemaje?
Ati no ya Charisma.
No, hiyo ni Washeke amesema. I'm suspecting that is not.
Ati ngoja amesema nisemeni chenye amesema.
Amesema ati no ya Charisma ndio iko juu. But I am suspecting. I'm suspecting that is Washeke's position.
Wa Arsenal hawapendi kusema ukweli.
I'm suspecting that is Washeke's position.
Hao watu wote ni Arsenal.
Na mmoja wa Chelsea.
Nani ni wa Chelsea?
DJ.
We Ali ulienda changes na wewe ni Arsenal. Kwani umelaniwa?
Mzee, tunajua hiyo ndo wa dream yenyu. Maybe mkidedi ile siku mtarudi in your second life, maybe mtarudi mkue Changerians. Maybe sasa ndo mtajua hiyo feeling ya kwa changes. Congress of Highly Advanced National Girls Entertainment Zone. Hata uko unajua hiyo hapo. But anyway, DJ Mosh Fire.
Why would you want to know toilet shit? Kaenda kaze.
Let's go to the next song.
Whatever them say now it don't matter. Tell I see tryna blow us steam. See them eyes, them green, cause they envy we. Give them a show, pina mukongo. Wachoko se, kulia kushoto. Jueni queen, unachafua sinu. Kidansu na wachanganya. Let's take it slow, turinge kitoko. Tusiogope choma photo. Oh no, oh no. Hadi washikwe na vovo. Because of you. Wananyonga wifu because of you. Wananyonga wifu because of you. Wananyonga wifu because of you.
Okay. Wanaonaga wivu because of you. Hiyo ngoma lakini ya kuicheza mpaka ile part ile cheza hiyo ngoma. Cheza hiyo ngoma. Bado hatujafika.
Maria, nivulie, sindiria.
Hapo ndio walizirusha.
Ndio niweze kutulia. Juu mambo yetu kuna wengi wanafuatilia. But don't let it get to your head. Moto yao tutazima. Baby, you make a man scatter. Baby, you make a man scatter. Baby, you make a man scatter.
Wow, yani hii ngoma inasema Maria, nivulie, sidiria, ninywe maziwa, niweze kutulia. Minte wachiapo tu, Mika.
Man, Wewe is a hit. That is not even as in, hey, Wewe is a hit. I don't even know the thing is, if you know the story behind the song, Wewe sasa inakuwa hit kabisa.
Okay. Ina backstory.
Ina backstory.
Ina backstory. Sijui kama mwenye ngoma atawaambia backstory, but iko na backstory.
Hiyo ndakuja kusemea studio siku moja, nitakuwa pale.
Okay. Sawa.
But then, if the song itself, it's a very beautiful song, and I think unafaa kujua backstory ya ngoma, then you will appreciate it very much. It's a hit, but when you know the backstory, you'll appreciate the song kwa kabisa, because it says everything.
Now, you know, like, mi napenda wordplay ya Charisma. Yani wordplay yake inakuacha, yani hata kama unataka kukasirika, unabaki tu umesmile. Because ni wordplay ingine hujakutana nayo, and then unaona the arrangement itself, ngoma yenyewe iko sawa, and then hizo rhythms, unajua vile watu wanasema ati there is no Kenyan sound. Mi hizi sounds nikizisikia, I can't pin them anywhere else. I can't pin them anywhere else. I don't know whether it's the instrumentation, I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel a lot of ownership with this sound, because Kenya tumekuwa na hiyo inferiority complex kwamba we don't have a sound, and we actually do. Yeah, we actually do. Unaona hata ngoma inasema, hata ngoma yenyewe inasema.
Very nice.
Yeah, so man, hizi ni zile ngoma like unaweza hata kama ina play kwa background, like in a cocktail party, hakuna mtu atajua itakuwa ni historia ya Maria sijui nivulie nini. Ni ngoma tu ile, hiyo beat yake inakubali tu. Unajua mi I like music where you can listen to passively na inakudistract bado. Ina distract attention yako. Yeah, because you know mimi I'm a very harsh critic of music. So mimi music ambayo ita capture attention yangu,
mashairi
hiyo hapo lazima kuna mdalasini, kuna iliki, kuna karafuu, kuna pilipili manga iliwekwa pale ndani. Sasa kuna vile hizo zote
the song has to have a rhythm that speaks to your soul.
Kabisa, yeah. You know, it speaks to your soul, the lyrics, and then of course also the rhythm and the beat does something to you. So hii hapa, to me, this is one of my best songs. Yeah, This is one of my best songs, but kuna zingine hapo number 1 niko na kama 3 hivi. Zote ziko number 1, sijui nichague gani. Yeah.
1A, 1B and 1C. Ni Jojo, si mimi. Washeke ameongeza like 5,000 motos. Steven JJ anasema ni hit. Luis Muya ameipatia 5 stars. Washeke amesema that's my second favorite song after Let You Know. Alafu Luis anasema nimesikia nivulia sidiria nimeongeza another 2 stars. So this thing is definitely a hit.
And then Steven JJ
amesema ngoma ni rahisi.
Ngoma wa rahisi. Unajua ni ile unaita muziki bila jasho. Unajua kuna muziki nyingine unasikia you're like okay nimesikia ngoma ni poa but wacha nisikize tena. Hapa it's the first time hakuna, there's no complication. Yeah, there's no complication. Sawa baadaye maybe you just try to figure out, unajaribu kwa sababu mimi mwenyewe ni mshairi najaribu kuchambua mashairi. Huu Maria ni nani? Na ni kwa nini anavua sidiria? Yeah. Na hii maziwa ni maziwa gani? Yeah. Ni maziwa gani hapa? Sasa unajua kama mshairi
maziwa ya uzima.
Yeah, ni lazima ujue ni lazima ujue what's in between the lines.
Yeah.
Ni kitu gani imesemwa. Sasa ile siku takam Charisma tutachambua hii hapo. Nakumbuka vile tulikuwa tukichambua fasihi high school. Tunaichambua moja mstari kabisa. Haya sawa. DJ Mosh Fire, twende kazi.
Natoka klabu wa mwisho kwa mfuko ni zero la wamani ya kesho. El Capitan napenda usherati na warembo malisa Mimi nimechoka lakini bado ninagodha. Anarumbosa ni mena wa shohana noma. Ni demo moja na ameomoka. Situko mavitu na tunazoza. Kama uko nervous tonga kijaba usijelala. Kuna walevi wamekuja wamenyanya. Akina dada wanataka biringanya. Ndio sherehe imeanza. Kwa sherehe utatupata.
Okay. Sasa hapa Washeke ameka sijui ni stars ama ni fires karibu 20 na akaongeza biringanya 2. Sawa Washeke, tueleze biringanya maana yake ni nini, because hatujaona biringanya imetumika katika hit or miss segment. Sasa tueleze. Luis Muya amekubali 5 stars. Make a watch. Hii ngoma. Yeah.
Ngoma mara ya kwanza nikisikia nilikuwa ushago mahali chini ya mti. Usiku unachoma nyama. Nikaekewa ngoma and I was like, damn, okay. Really can't wait for that album to come out. And then when the album came out, when I heard it, it was ushasikia kitu najua, it was like deja vu, like nishasikia kitu but it sounds different, it sounds better, it sounds improved, right? And Juliali amesema among kwa zile top number 1 kuna ngoma mingi kwa number 1. This was among one of my favorites in this song, in this album. Actually this album I had a lot of favorites. Ilikuwa among hiyo. So for me, yeah, kwangu ni hit.
Okay, hii imekubalika. Na uno Mike.
So far. See, I'm having he's played 3 songs. 4.
Ah, okay.
This is the fourth one.
This is the fourth one, yes.
Yeah. So it's 444.
It's 444.
444.
Ah, okay.
Even
Sawa
that
sawa.
one, Mika was saying it's a his.
Yeah.
Nilipatia 7.92.
Ah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Haya, sawa sawa. Haya, ya mwisho and then tutafunga kazi.
Meli itie nanga.
Meli itie nanga.
Neda adita meni.
Yeah, I know.
Hakuna bonus.
Ndo hii
bonus ina mwok.
Bonus dijana.
Toxic lovers, yeah. This love. Uko na trust issues, kila siku unanishuku. Kazi zangu za usiku zinakukera sana. Oh no, na vile we ni msupu, umepewa kila kitu. Rafiki yako ndiye sumu, anakuchocha sana. No, hapana, sikukuwa huko jana. Unapenda kugombana sana kila saa. No, hasira imegeuka hasara. Ingawa tunapendana, nimechoka sana. No, mina ona itakuwa tu sawa hata tukiachana. Mina ona itakuwa tu sawa hata tukiachana. Nenda lote, nenda lote, nenda lote, nenda lote, nenda lote, nenda lote,
Okay. Hey, mzee, yani hizi ngoma, I don't even know what to say. Mika, tuanze na wewe.
Trust Issues is a classic.
Yeah.
Forget a hit. Yeah, it's a hit, but it's gonna be a classic. This is one of those songs whereby you find two people who are in their element and they vibe together, and whatever they produce is just amazing. Amazing, man. I think Trust Issues is how many years old? Is it 2 years old now?
No, it's not 2. It's in fact Nikama 6 months.
Yeah. Sorry, 6 months. Yeah.
Trust Issues is
it's one of the first musics in this. One of the first singles released in this album.
In the album.
And it was a hit from then. And even when you know when you know that you have a good song, is when you release it as a single and it hit good numbers, and then when you do the album launch that it's in the album, it still does good. It reminds you that that's a timeless piece that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So for me hapo uko one mic alikupatia 5 out of 5. I would say 5 out of 5, lakini almost mimi nilikuwa na request moja tu ya before tuende tu inaitwa Away.
Okay. Request ingine inaingia. Haya,
Inaitwa
sawa.
Away.
Yeah, bataka blue request ingia hapa. Luis Muya anasema do yourself a favor and listen in full stereo system. Headphones or phone speakers don't do those songs justice. Beats and vocals on point with proper separation. Kwa hivyo Luis Muya amezikubali kabisa. Now ingoma nimesikiza mara kadhaa mpaka yani there was a point I wanted to ask, wewe na Ben Soul, are you guys brothers or twins? Because I mean all of you have your own unique voices, but there's a point where you guys intersect. Ama sijui ni vile nyote mko na Madrid. Ama sijui kama ni vile mko na Madrid nyote, but I'm like, this was a very good combination. And then nyinyi nyote, by the way, you guys have a very striking resemblance to how BN sounds. And I know BN is one of the artists you look up to.
All of us, both of us.
So much. Yeah, kuna vile sijui kama ni amewa influence, but
Yeah.
kuna vile hata mtu akikusikia ukiimba, you know, in passing, anaweza sema hata ni bien, you know. And I feel the same about Ben Soul. So kama I mean, if he's done I don't know whether he's done some mentoring ama amekuwa mkimsikiza tu, but
Yes, for sure.
yeah, but you guys have a very similar sound. Hii ngoma, yeah, 10 over 10, man. Man,
Thank you.
Charisma, me, I'm telling you, the day when watu watakufikia, when people discover you, because hata with a lot of people hapa diaspora walikuwa nasema, oh, tunamsikia mara ya kwanza lakini hizi ngoma zake jo, hizi ngoma zake ni poa. So we need to shift those algorithms to make sure they go out, and hopefully next year tutakuona hapa US. Ukija hapa US, get introduced to the different markets, and the sky will be the limit from here.
Inshallah, asante.
5 out of 5.
Imekubali.
Imekubali, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Imekubali.
Yeah.
Get a chance, like you said, end up all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
iko kwa comments. Iko pinned hapo kwa comments.
Yeah. Just do yourself a favor.
Yeah, buy the music.
Yes.
Buy the music, support our artists, and share. Don't only listen by yourself. Share to, you know, the same way you share these viral videos of some of some crap. Do the same. If we start doing that with our good
with
content,
the same vigor.
Yeah, with the same vigor and vitality. Sometimes kuna hizi vitu za ujinga zinaenda viral, yani unaingia 20 different WhatsApp groups and you're coming across the same shit. So I'm like, if we could just use that same energy to spread our music, man, will be a different point. Next time 2 years tutakuwa tunaongea na personal assistant wa Charisma. Yeah. Tutakuwa tunaongea na personal assistant wake. Unampigia Charisma simu, your number ni personal assistant ako nayo. And we are usually very happy when we get to talk to people and they get to that level where we are now talking to their personal assistants. Mi wanasema that's okay. That's happy. Sometimes watu waga na uchungu, huyu jamaa tumemwona. No, let people go up.
Wacha waende.
Wacha watu waende. If someone is receiving messages from 500 people in a day, how do you expect them to respond to you just because mulikuwa mnajuana ama mulicheza bano pamoja? I mean, life doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. We need to be happy when people go up.
And consequently, life also says, wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo
hakina budi kuwa na mwisho.
Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this
Ukiimulika away tukienda.
Yo ataekewa.
Inakam. Yeah.
Asa nimalize.
Yeah. So Mika, give us your wrap up before tuende kwa DJ Omosh.
So my wrap up today is just that, as in today it's been one of those shows whereby we've gone back to our roots, whereby we've usually been the ones who've been showcased an artist into this market before anybody else has done. And those shows whereby we usually tell people, like, watch out for this person, and they've ended up being a hit. They've ended up blowing up, right? We have so many artists who we introduced the market way before they came in. And the good thing about Charisma is that he's not somebody who people don't know, it's somebody who people know, but it's somebody who also in this diaspora market, whereby I'm telling people to brace yourselves because you don't know what's hitting you. Right now, here is a young, hungry man who's talented and who's willing to work hard. And I've spoken good words about so many artists here. I've told people to listen to so many artists over here who have come and proved to us that they're good, and every time they come back, they walk back into the show. So the next time that we're going to have Charisma in this show, hopefully it's going to be live at the studio, and hopefully it's going to be when he's headlining somewhere big in the States. And that's not something that you're going to think about is going to be in so many years. It's something you're thinking about in the next year or two. but probably the next year. So I just want to tell Fidel, continue doing what you're doing, continue working hard as you're working hard, and the world is yours for the taking.
Thank you.
For all the other Kenyan artists, Kenyan promoters, as you've had, we just have to continue adding value to our shows, adding value to our art, and we'll continue growing it. It's gotten to a time whereby we had a Kenyan artist who went and ruled the EDM airwaves. That means our sound can penetrate anywhere.
Anyway, yes.
If we want to. So us as the consumers of this sound needs to continue sharing it, because nobody's gonna play our music outside here except Puma. So
Okay.
as you enjoy your weekend today, remember, me and you is what's gonna make it go big. Have a nice week.
100.
Asante sana DJ Mosh.
Yeah. Asante sana Charisma Bwana Fidel.
Asante sana, nashukuru sana.
I didn't reveal the name, ilikuwa Mika. But wow is all I can say. And when Charisma gets together with Mbithi, it's like another thing. Tumeongea hapa beso, but akigongana na Mbithi, unashika adabu yako. So I think there's just more to come. And that the album is full of a lot of artists. I mean, he's got Ben Soul in there. He has Costa Ojuang. He's got Watenda Wawili.
Trio Mio.
Trio Mio. And then I think the lady is not here. She was in the previous track. Yes, yes. Emma, I think what's her name?
Emma Geruto.
Yes.
Emma Geruto. Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's one to look out for.
Yes.
I mean, I can just say that for free. But hey, what do I know? And with that, asante for coming and gracing us with your presence and staying up with us all this time. Maze, your time difference.
Nenda kulala ngojeni.
Imefika saa ngapi sasa? Ni saa ngapi Kenya?
Ni 7:05 am.
Nice. Nice.
Yani, it's almost like afadhali at this point in the two kettle house aulize nini juu si kuna ile shift kuna ile shift kuna ile shift wameingia uende tu ukiingia nao.
Yani kuna boti inaniangalia hapa, acha nimenyane nayo.
I think kuna vile napiga simu na naletwa nyama. Kuna vile
kuna Uber Eats ya nyama huko.
Yes. Kuna msee wa Nduthi is on standby.
Nyama ina gani?
Okay. Unajua na washairi nyama inaweza kumaanisha so many different
things. Hata mimi nyama gani mnaongelea hivi?
Yani nyinyi watu. Can you guys just clean up your act? Anyway, asante bro. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Sky's the limit. We'll be here for you. We are here for you, and we'll continue pushing Kenyan music as we always have.
Thank you.
Thanks for gracing us with your presence.
Okay. Aya, sawa. Sasa Charisma, give us your last word.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm really, really humbled personally. Just for the opportunity to be able to talk to an audience I've never spoken to. The fact that you guys gave me the platform, that you have this platform even, I'm grateful. Hopefully, tupatane sasa uso kwa uso na si hapa Kenya. Tupatane kama pia
Kilimanjaro ama Vegas.
Nikuje studio, tufanye kitu, and hopefully we do even bigger things in the future. You guys are really amazing. Thank you for the time. Najua pia kwenu ni late, na appreciate for you ase kupatia na hii platform yote ya kwa siku do hizi vitu zote na do. Yeah man, and it's just time to support Kenyan music and Kenyan everything for everyone who's out there listening. Thank you guys so much. And I'm genuinely so humbled. I do interview yote at your states. I think the farthest I've done an interview for is Uganda. So
okay.
Umevuka boda.
Umehaso juu chini.
Boda tu umeruka the continent.
By the way,
he's in the diaspora.
Hata Uganda ni kuvuka boda, lakini kuna ile sasa
umevuka bahari.
Uganda lazima Uganda unaweza na gari. Hiyo ndio lazima mtu apande ndege.
Unakumbuka tukishika Uganda juu tumepiga picha ile
haki ya Mungu.
Okay. Sawa. Asante sana Charisma, like this was so amazing. You know, this is one of those interviews, of course, we did not know what to expect. And of course, we want to introduce you to the diaspora. And the promoters, of course, are going to be watching. So we are hoping to see you in the US next year and have you live here in Kilimanjaro Studios. Because I think the moment, and I'm telling this to all people in the industry out here, the promoters, Nini, do not sleep. You want to jump on now before the rest of the world finds out.
Mapema ndio best.
Because you know, when the rest of the world finds out, you'll have to deal with personal assistants. You will have to deal with personal assistants.
Na by the way ni mkali anaitwa Lingba.
Yes. Yes, you'll have to deal with personal assistants. Hamtaweza kudeal na yeye direct anymore. So this is a good thing. I'm happy to hear what's happening within the Kenyan music scene, because at some point we're beginning to get worried that we're losing it again. I mean, if Kenyans are now excited to go out to listen to Kenyans sing, that's great. I'm hoping our music will grow not only in the country but also regionally. People in the region look up to Kenya for so many different things. I think musically we can do that too. And then of course, make it grow to other continents, Australia, the UK, just like Afrobeat. Afrobeat has grown. And of course, we don't know what to expect next year for LA Sevens. And then another thing I know about to Studio Mesahau, we also have Chicago Marathon coming up. So we need to gear up because tunafaa kwa tunaenda huko. You know, so staki kusikia ati sijui ati I don't know, there's a baby shower here.
Maze, the dog ate my homework.
Sijui the dog ate my homework here. So tukona you know, like Chicago Marathon, which is also an event that we're trying to grow and make it as big as rugby, because our athletes go out there and win all the time. So I think it's only fair if Kenyans come out there in numbers. So there's so many great things happening out here, and asante sana kwa mafans, na yeyote ambaye anataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu bado ni ile bado haijabadilika, ni 1-800 mteule, na operator akishika simu mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu, na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Aiden, Daddy loves you. Njeri, happy birthday, mommy. Happy 13th birthday. Daddy loves you. Nimo, Daddy loves you. Until next week, be blessed.
And we are crushing that birthday party hata kama hujatualika.
Sawa.
Yeah.
I'll drop the address virtually. Adios.